Giant fans? Bad Dog, long time no see, buddy.
Yeah, I haven't seen you in like 8 minutes. It's been a long time. Both of us went up and got some coffee.
Yeah, I got some
CAWFEE.
I am super. Maybe it seems like I'm in a really good mood this week. And I don't know. I'm crazy, Bad Dog. I don't know why. I am so hyped for this game.
Because it's a playoff type of atmosphere.
It's a playoff game, and we talked about it on Patricia Trainer's channel. We're both nervous. We're both excited. But, dude, it's just a different feeling this week. It's a different feeling for me this week. And I know every fan's going to have their different interpretations of what the game, is for them. And a lot of people have checked out. Not me. I am so amped up for this game. And I just want to say hello to a couple people in the chat. What's going on, Demir, man? What's going on, Slink, man? What's going on, Reality, man? What's going on, Joshua? What's going on, Pumpkin? What's going on, Amazing Guy? What's going on, Cowboy Suck? What's going on, Ryan D, man? Thanks so much for being here, man. But, yeah, man, I can't wait. I can't wait for football this week.
I don't know why anybody would check out. We're 7-4. We haven't won 7 games since 2016. It's the best year we've had in 6 years. Still have a chance to make the playoffs. Listen, we're not as good as Dallas. I hate Dallas. Hate them with a passion. If you watch Patricia Trainer's channel, you know that. If you watch my video, I don't know if it was the last one I did about Odell Beckham or the one before. I went off on Dallas with the hell of it because I don't like Dallas, but they're good. Didn't expect to beat them on a 4-day, with 4 days off or whatever it was, 3 days off in between games in Dallas on Thanksgiving. The game that hurt was a Lions game, but it doesn't matter. Well, that's in the past. We have a reprieve. We beat Washington. That's really our biggest competitor for this last playoff spot. These are games you have to take care of. We can beat this team. They're just like we are. We have a lot of guys coming back. Azeez Ojulari, Evan Neal, Daniel Bellinger. We're getting healthy. And Washington hasn't had a bye the entire season. This is in MetLife Stadium. It's do or die. Heineke's a guy that could turn the ball over. Let's kick their ass.
Yeah, listen, man. We talked about it on Patricia's channel. We're going to talk about it here. These two teams are like a spitting image of one another in terms of like what they want to do as a football team. We saw Washington beat the Eagles the same way that we beat the Ravens, the same way that we beat the Packers, the same way that we beat the Titans, grinding out the clock, relying on that big running back. Brian Robinson looked really good last week. I watched the game.
He's tough. He's a tough runner.
He was giving me those Brandon Jacob vibes, man. And they certainly got some weapons in the passing game, and they're playing well. Like, I'm not going to discount them, but I feel weirdly confident going in. And listen, I felt confident going to Detroit, so take it for what you will. We lost against Detroit, but I don't know. Washington last week looked like to me maybe they're starting to tire out a little bit before the bye. They barely beat Atlanta. They should have lost the game at home. I think we could pick them off this week. I really do, especially with some of the reinforcements that we're getting with Evan Neal, with Daniel Bellinger. I think they're going to be crucial. Finally, Bad Dog, we're going to have all 4 pass rushers in the lineup at the same time. Azeez Ojulari, obviously, Kayvon Thibodeau, he looked like a friggin' beast last week.
My hot take last week was that he'd have 2 sacks. I mean, he didn't get the sacks, but the man played like a man possessed.
Yeah, he had his best performance of the year. Awesome. And then you got Dexter and Leo. It's the first time all year they've all played together in the same game. So really excited to see what they could do. Obviously, we have some question marks on both sides of the ball. We still have a ton of injuries. We're getting Moreau back, so that's a plus.
Yep.
He's played relatively well, but, you worry about how we match up with McLaurin and everything else. But I don't know. I just got a weird feeling that I think we're going to have a really good performance. I think Barkley with the extra 4 days of rest, a lot of – that's another thing, Bad Dog. And Benjamin, I'll get to you in a second. But that's another thing. This week I've seen it all over Twitter. Fans are starting to say that Saquon Barkley's wearing out. Is this the end of Saquon Barkley? And we'll see, because this is the biggest game of Barkley's career. He talks about wanting to get a big contract extension, as he should, at the end of the year. It's what he wants. So he's got to put up or shut up over these last 6 games, not just this game. He's got to prove that he could withstand the load of a full season. But I don't think Barkley is worn out. I think Barkley had a 35-carry performance against the Houston Texans. I think Barkley was missing Daniel Bellinger and Evan Neal. And then I think he played 2 games in 4 days after he had a 35-carry
against a very tough front 7.
Against a very tough front 7. I think Barkley now is 11 days off. I think he's going to look just fine. I think Saquon Barkley's going to look like a beast this game. I think he's going to have a monster game.
It should not surprise anybody that Barkley's decline over the past couple of weeks, if you will, coincides with the loss of Evan Neal and Daniel Bellinger. As we saw, as we did the stream with Patty Traina, she had a great stat on Twitter with Neal and Bellinger in the lineup. The Giants averaged 173 yards on the ground. Without them, 112. That's a major, major difference. I do think you're going to see Daniel Jones run the ball. Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley have had their best games against Washington in their career. I know that the players are different, but I still feel like, again, I'm not as confident as Chris. My prediction was that this is going down to the wire and we win because Washington misses a 2-point conversion. That's really where I think this is. That's how
Riverboat Ron punches
Riverboat Ron. I just see it. I see us being up 21-14 with about 1:40 to go, and they go down and score a touchdown with 18 seconds left. And Riverboat Ron says, we're on the road, and you don't play for a tie on the road. I'm going for 2. I'm going for the win, and they don't get it. That's where I am. And if that happens, I might keel over. So it was nice knowing you. But we better win this game, man. I don't care if it's 21-20. I don't care if it's 31-3. We got to win, Giants fans. This is huge. This is the biggest thing we played in 6 years.
And listen, and this is a hot take. I understand that because you're going to say, Chris, how could you say this is a bigger game than a playoff game? I think you could at least make an argument, like I said on Patricia Traina's channel, that this may be even bigger than the 2016 playoff game against the Packers because of everything that this game means. We're talking about potential. This game could affect the future of our quarterback. This game could affect the future of our best offensive weapon with Saquon Barkley. This game is so big, not just for this season, but potentially for the next 3, about the future direction of this New York Giants football team. Because I'm going to tell you what, Baddog, if we lose this game and the Giants drop to 7-5, the pressure is going to be mounting. Then you got the Eagles. After you lost 3 straight, you lose that game, you're 7-6. Suddenly you've lost 4 straight, and now you play a Washington team that just beat you at home, who's more rested. You're potentially looking at 7-7 before you play the Eagles again later in the year, and you play Minnesota. So this game is so massive. I don't think a lot of fans have grasped how big this game is, not just for our playoff hopes, but for the future direction of this football team.
Yeah, that is a big difference. When we were in 2016, when we made the playoffs, they had already mortgaged their future. They spent $200 million on the defense, getting Snacks Harrison, Janoris Jenkins, and his name's escaping me, the edge rush, Olivier Vernon. So we knew our future at the time. Eli was nearing the end of his career. Beckham was right in his prime. We didn't really have a great running back. Who was our running back? Was it Rashad Jennings that year?
Yep.
Either way, we were like going for it at that point. This is the first year of a rebuild, and we're playing with house money, but this is imperative. Because like you said, this will determine which direction we go because we're at a crossroads. If we win this game and start making a playoff push, then you're going to start, especially if Daniel Jones has a big performance, then you're going to be like, all right, we're riding with him. We're going to build around him. Same thing as Saquon Barkley. If they don't, then you might start saying, well, you know what? Playoffs might be out of the realm of possibility now. So we might have to start looking in a different direction. But it is huge. And, same can be said for Washington.
Yeah, huge. It's such a big game. It's a bigger game for us because if you're Washington and you lose, you could say to yourself, all right, we got another game at home. We play the Giants at home.
Right.
We're going to have the bye. We're going to get our shot at them. We could split the series. If the Giants lose this game, look, the pressure is just going to be so immense. Like the pressure's already immense, but This game is so big. But let me just get to a couple of these donations. Benjamin, man, thank you so much, man. Not a Giants fan, but I said this to Bad Dog before. Guys like Philly 500, Mark Holmes, his unathletic son, Philly Mike, Louis T, Lord Brunson, Philly Notion, etc., are all extremely glitzy eaters. And off of YouTube, they participate in sexcapade orgies. Okay. All right. I don't know what to say, Benjamin. I mean, they might, for all I know. I know that their fans all do. The Eagles fans love to anticipate in sexcapade orgies, but I can't speak on those individuals.
Yeah. Yeah. You know our guy, Ben. But yeah, I don't know who Philly Notion is. I never heard of that guy. Then again, all of those Philly guys came after they won a Super Bowl. So Brilly.
Brilly is right. And Jeremiah, man, thank you very much, man. Tana and the Bad Dogs, stand up. I'm going to the game Sunday. Can't wait. Let's go, G-Man. Enjoy the game, man. That's going to be, dude, that environment at that game, Bad Dog,
Yep.
it's going to be
playoff atmosphere.
Rocking. Like, that stadium is going to be rocking.
It's such a big game. And wink, blitz some more at the beginning of that game. Make Heineke make a quick decision because that guy can turn it over.
Yeah.
Pressure his ass, especially since you have all your pass rushers back. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. You got to be aggressive in this game. And I understand that we have some injuries. McKinney's not playing. Adore Jackson's not playing. You got to take your chances.
Got to take a chance.
Especially against a quarterback like Taylor Heineke. We're not talking about Dak Prescott. You've got to go after him. You got to try to force this. You got to try to make him make mistakes. Yep. There's no denying it.
Yeah.
MY Giants 26 says, I think we are going to finish stronger than we think.
Be great.
Maybe it wasn't you, Giants 26. I thought it was. Maybe it was somebody else last week was saying that I thought it was you that said that the season was over and the team's not going to win another game, but maybe you've changed your opinion if it wasn't you.
There's got a few guys that have said that.
So yeah, but we'll see. You know, I think I'm going into this game with an unknown. I have an unknown. I really do. I don't know what this team is going to look like over the last 6 games because now we're getting reinforcements back. And as I said to you on Patricia's stream before we went live here, I really do believe, at least last week against Dallas, the Giants left a little bit in the tank. I don't think they used Daniel Jones's legs, knowing that there was probably a very good chance that they're going to need to use Daniel Jones's legs down the stretch. And they knew with 4 days rest, we're probably going to lose in Dallas anyway. Let's save up the bullets for when we really need it against Washington. We're going to have 4 extra days to prepare. And Dable said it. Dable said it this week. You heard the reports come out. Kayvon Thibodeau talked about it. How Dable said this is where the season starts. This is a new season for this football team. This is now playoff football. So I think they're going balls to the wall. And that doesn't mean they're going to throw 40 times or 35 times because that would be the stupidest thing this team could do.
Yeah,
that's going against their best interest. But they're going to do what they got to do. And if that means Dan Jones got to run the ball 12 times for 85, 90 yards in this game to win this football game, I think they're going to do it.
Listen, Daniel Jones has had his best games against Washington.
Yeah.
So I expect more of the same. I really do. But I do expect Daniel Jones to run more. I expect Saquon Barkley to be back to what he was. Because we mentioned it right at the top of the show, getting Neal and Bellinger back are certainly going to help. And that's what the Giants do. And that's what Washington does. We're not going to see an aerial assault between Heineke and Daniel Jones. This isn't Drew Brees against Peyton Manning. Okay. No. We're not watching that happen. If you like ugly, smash mouth, low scoring, old fashioned defensive games, you'll like this one. This is a classic NFC East war between 2 teams that are mirror images of one another, probably overachieving from what a lot of people thought going into the year, and both of them with a huge opportunity to take a massive step forward going into the playoffs. So we got to win this game because, like we've mentioned, we play Washington twice in 3 weeks. Well, we're playing at home here. Washington hasn't had a bye. They're worn down at this point. We play Philly next week. So we have a war again. Washington gets to rest up. They get to study and prepare for a team that they just played. An extra week of rest, extra week to prepare for the same team, and it's in FedEx Field, or like I said, whatever the hell that dump is called. And even Washington fans will tell you that place is just a disaster.
Yeah.
We got to win, man. I don't care how you do it. I don't care what the score is. I don't care what the stats are. The only stat I give a damn about is that we have more points than them at the end of the game. I don't care what it looks like.
Yeah, listen, we've said that every week. There's no such thing as an ugly win to us. There's no such thing as an ugly stat line. We're not stat guys. Only stat we care about is wins. The one thing I'm going to say about last week too, Bad Dog, that we didn't talk too much about on Patricia Trainer's stream that I did not like last week. And I'm not upset I am upset, but we didn't think we were going to win that game. No. So it's not that. The thing I didn't like in that game last week for as much confidence I think Brian Daboll has shown in his team, and he showed some confidence from within that game. I saw a lot of people ragging on Brian Daboll for going forward on the 4th and 1 on his own 45. I actually agreed with that decision because the Giants were getting destroyed. They had the ball the entire third quarter. The defense was wearing out. I understand when he doesn't get it, everybody plays hindsight and they kill the guy for it. I actually agreed with that decision. They needed to shift the momentum. But what I did not like in that game by Brian Daboll, they showed no urgency down 15 points with 8 minutes to go. And they're huddling up Bad Dog as if they're scared puppy dogs. They're taking 30 seconds between plays.
Yep.
And to me, that was waving the white flag. To me, that was Daboll saying, we're not going to win this game. Let's get out of here without injuries. And I didn't like seeing that. I cannot see that this week.
It was almost like he had already conceded the game. And it's like, let's just go out here with some confidence. It's almost like, let's work on the next game.
Yeah.
It was almost like preseason. Let's work on this. Let's work on driving the ball. Let's work on running the ball. Let's just work on getting a touchdown drive together. Even though, Dallas is playing prevent and was allowing it to happen. And Vegas loved it. They did. They had to cover the points. But seriously, I think that seemed to be what it was to me was, hey, check this out, man. We're just going to go down and we're going to work on some stuff for the Washington game. It almost seemed that way. And yeah, I think the coaching staff the last couple of weeks haven't had their best game, and it's going to happen. No coach is perfect. But it's a big game for Daboll and company. There is no question about it. Gotta be on your game on this one, coach.
Yeah, this is a huge game. And I have confidence that he will, especially with the 4 extra days to prepare.
Why wouldn't you?
I have full confidence that this team's going to come out prepared. I think we're going to come out with a good game plan. And the question is, are the players going to execute? I'll go back to that play when we went for it on the 4th and 1. Sure, you could question the decision there down by 1 point on your own 40 with like 3 minutes to go in the third quarter or whatever it was. But they called the right play. It was a great play call. Kafka put him in the right situation to succeed. Saquon Barkley was wide open. Daniel Jones threw it behind him, and Saquon Barkley didn't catch the football.
Yep.
The players
neither one of them did their job in that play.
The players didn't execute.
You can blame whoever you want. Neither one of them did what they were supposed to do.
So this week, the players have to execute.
Absolutely.
You can't come up with misses like that in crucial spots like that. And if the Giants expect to win this game,
absolutely, Chris,
hopefully they do.
We've won our games by executing, right? We're not good enough to overcome mistakes. And actually, Dallas made all the mistakes in that game. They still ended up blowing us away, right? Yeah. They're the ones that turn it over technically 3 times because McCarthy is an idiot and went for it in his own territory, which I didn't understand.
But good point by Nova, by the way. Should have pointed that out. Bad job on the coaching staff in terms of having only 10
guys. To 10 guys.
That's fair. Good point on that. It was a good play call, but you got to have 10 guys on the field.
Got to have 10 guys.
Yeah.
Or 11 guys, rather.
Yeah. So that's fair. That's a fair criticism.
Yep.
But let's get to this. John, man, thank you very much, man. I don't know what it is, but DJ plays really well versus Washington. He gets his favorite target back, and Aziz comes back who gets to the quarterback a lot and happens to be a decent run defender. Neal and Bellinger will open up the lanes for 26. Yeah, listen, this is the first time all year that all 4 of those players have played together. Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, Azeez Ojulari, and Kayvon Thibodeau. And it's coming off the heels of Kayvon Thibodeau having the performance he had last week. So that alone, if you're a Giants fan, in my opinion, you should be encouraged going into this game. Now, we certainly have deficiencies in the secondary. There's no doubt about it. And Washington's going to come up with some big plays in this game because of that. Because we don't have McKinney, because we don't have Adoree Jackson. But I do think we're going to get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. Yeah.
No, listen, I agree. And I think that they have to. I think that the Giants got to bring pressure, especially with all 4 of these guys, because, if you get to Heineke, he can turn it over. I watched the game against Atlanta. He threw it wasn't even pressure. Just threw a terrible pass. When Washington just got the ball back, trying to score before the half, he threw a horrible pass, and it was picked off. Yeah. So he can turn it over. He does throw interceptions. You got to make him make the decision. He is not, like you said, Dak Prescott. He's not one of the, and we picked Dak Prescott off twice. So Washington, listen, Dallas is superior as far as talent goes compared to us. They can overcome that. Washington can't. Washington's like us. Washington loses a turnover battle. They're in deep dookie. Okay?
They play the same way we do. They beat
Right.
the Eagles. They play the same way we do.
Right. So they can't afford that. So we
Yeah.
have to, especially early, if we can force them into a couple of turnovers like we did Dallas, I'm going to feel a lot more confident against Washington.
Yes, that's a fact. That's 100% a fact. If we create 2 turnovers, don't turn the ball over against them, we're going to win this football game.
Yep.
There's no doubt about it. And as far as the other part of your comment, Neal and Bellinger, yeah, I mean, listen, we talked about it. I think, what was it? It was 176 to 113 or something like that.
Yeah, yes.
In terms of rushing yards on average when Bellinger's in the lineup and when he's not.
60 yards difference.
It's like a 60-yard difference, and that's over like a 4-game sample size. So Bellinger definitely has something to do with it in terms of why the running game hasn't been quite as good. I also think Barkley was a little bit tired due to the fact he had a 35-carry game and he played 2 games within a 4-game stretch. So I think it's, a variety of things, but getting Bellinger back in the lineup. And by the way, I said this on this might be very weird to say, but I said it on Twitter, and I think it makes sense. As bad as the offenses look, Bad Dog, without Evan Neal and Daniel Bellinger in the lineup, to me is actually so encouraging, because that shows me that these rookies have had that much of an impact on this offense, that when those 2 guys are not in the lineup, you saw this offense significantly get worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
especially in the red zone. Daniel Bellinger is a good red zone target.
Yeah, but if you're a Giants fan, Bad Dog, at least me, and I'm a glass half full guy, you know that. But I look at that and I say, this is great for the long term. The fact that those 2 rookies have that big of an impact on this offense. Now, of course, you could point to the depth and you could say, but it's year 1. The depth takes time. You have,
Yep.
year over year with drafts. So,
yeah, this isn't Shane's team yet.
Yeah. So to me, that's a great sign that they're so important to this offense, and I think they're only going to get better. So,
Yep.
I love Bellinger. I think right now I don't even think it's close. He was our best value pick this year.
Yeah, without a doubt.
He's been great for the Giants, and can't wait to get him back in the lineup this week with the visor on. MY Giants 26. He says, "Well, now you did say it. Well, now we are healthier. That's why." But you're right. Yeah. So yeah, listen, man, we're all emotional. When I saw the comment, I'm like, when I saw the comment, I'm like, I thought last week MY Giants 26 was checked out, and he said we weren't going to win another game. And but listen, we're all emotional, and in the moment, we're all going to say things that maybe we scale back on, and we feel differently 3 or 4 days later. That's part of being a fan of a football team.
Absolutely. Yeah, in the heat of battle, you're going to say shit that you don't mean, and you calm down, and you're like, yeah, well, that was wrong about that. I say that all the time. Like, even last year, I'm done with the Giants. Oh, I'm not watching this. They suck. And they did suck. I mean, they were unwatchable, and we all watched them anyway.
I would have rather watched a rerun of the Golden Girls last year than Mike Glennon play quarterback.
Oh God, I mean, that's not even
close.
I like the Golden Girls.
I like the Golden Girls too. That's a bad example, but you get where I'm going.
I would have rather watched One Tree Hill or Dawson's Creek, whatever the hell those shows were.
Whatever it is,
I would have rather watched a Hallmark Christmas movie. Over that.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
But over Jake Fromm, I agree. I will watch the corniest Hallmark Christmas movie over watching Jake Fromm.
Yeah, I'll watch Candace Cameron in 50 movies on Hallmark over watching Jake Fromm play quarterback.
Oh my God, Jake Fromm was so bad.
That was terrible.
And college guy, man, thank you very much, man. You guys think Philly rest their starters? You mean week 18, last game, the 17th game? I don't know. I mean, it comes down to the game has to mean nothing for them, which it may, because right now, what Dallas is 2 games back, but they play each other.
If Philly beats them, Philly sweeps them, and then
if Philly beats them, and they'll have it wrapped up by the last week. But if Dallas beats them, that's going down to the wire. I mean, so especially if they lose this week to Tennessee, which they definitely could.
And that's going to be a good game because we know Philly can't stop the run.
Yeah,
and you're not getting much of a better runner than Derrick Henry.
Yeah, so
we'll see.
But
listen, Philly squeaked out a win against Indianapolis. They had no business winning that game at all. And how many points did Green Bay put up on them?
Good amount.
Yeah, especially in the first half.
Yeah,
before Aaron Rodgers got hurt, and even Jordan Love.
Jordan Love. He looked good in that game.
He did.
Yeah.
Philadelphia's defense isn't. Their secondary is decent. The rest of that team's not defensively not really good. Their offense is very good. Their offense is tough to stop.
Oh, for sure.
Their offense is tough to stop.
But I think Tennessee matches up well with them.
I do too, because Tennessee is a team like Washington, is a team like the Giants. It's one of them ground and pound, hold on to the ball for long drives and keep Phillies off. That's how you beat Philadelphia.
Yeah, I think that's a really good test if you're an Eagles fan this week, because I think Henry's the type of back that could definitely run on them, and they have one of the best interior defensive tackles in football with Simmons. So, and they're an experienced team. They're a gritty team. So that'll be an interesting game. But to answer his question, I don't know. I don't know. The Eagles, who knows? You can't bank on that, though. I'll tell you that. You can't, if you're the Giants, you can't bank on it that they're going to sit their starters, even if they're done, because listen, they may want to stick it to the Giants, and they may look at it like we don't want too much time off because we have the bye. A lot of times you've seen that historically, Baddog, where the team that gets the bye, they rest their starters the last week, and they come out really sloppy their first playoff game. So I don't know what Sirianni's strategy is going to be if that game doesn't mean anything for them.
Hey, listen, I mentioned it too. To me, is a risk worth the reward? If you're Philadelphia and you got nothing to play for, and beating the Giants means you knock the Giants out of playoffs, but in the process, Jalen Hurts pulls a hamstring, or he breaks an ankle, or whatever, and he can't play, and you lose because you lost quarterback in a meaningless game. Well, Sirianni would have a lot to answer for, or A.J. Brown, or any of their big players. They have a lot to answer for. Why are you doing that? Especially since if you're Philadelphia, you're probably feeling pretty good. We can let the Giants in, because if we meet up with the Giants, we can beat them. Is the risk really worth the reward is the question. Now, I don't think they would sit them completely. I do think they'd probably play a half, but I think the second half would be whatever. But again, it's a long ways to go, and Philadelphia would have to have nothing to play for, the number one seed locked up, and then we cross that bridge and we come to it. But there is no guarantees.
And the other thing, listen, here's what I'm going to say. I'm not banking on that. I'm going to tell you right now. My mindset is right now, we've got 2 playoff games. Like, obviously, I'm going to be amped up for the Philadelphia Eagles game regardless. That game, to me, if we win the Washington game, I'm going to be thinking the back of my head the next Washington game. Because even if we win the Eagles game, I'm almost going to feel like we still need to win the Washington game. Like, the 2 Washington game is where my head is at right now, Bad Dog.
Yeah.
We win those, I don't got to worry about the Eagles. We win those 2 Washington games. I look at it like we got 3 weeks to prepare for the playoffs, because if we sweep Washington, we're going to the playoffs. It's going to be near impossible for us not to make it.
Right.
So I don't want to worry about the Eagles last week. Beat Washington. Daniel Jones, you want to get paid? Saquon Barkley, you want to get paid? Beat Washington. Get this team to the playoffs. I don't want to bank on Philadelphia sitting their starters
Me
the
neither.
last week.
I don't want to either.
Beat Washington. That's it. Beat them. We can do it.
Simple as that.
Titans. We beat the Ravens. We can beat Washington.
Right.
Beat them.
I agree. We can definitely beat them. They're just like we are. They're not a high. They're not getting a shootout with us. This is a high octane offense. They're not putting up 34. They're not Dallas. They're not Detroit. Detroit has a way better offense than Washington does. Washington don't play like that. They play like we do. If Taylor Heineke's throwing 40 times, that's going to benefit us.
Yeah. Beat Washington. It's as simple as that. That's what the season comes down to for me. Beat Washington. And Zach, man, thank you very much, man. I'm sick of losing. Everyone is writing us off already, and they've been writing us off all season, and we ain't effing writing back. It's time. Zach, man, listen. You had to think at some point this team was going to come a little bit crashing down to earth. I think we could all agree that their talent does not equal to a lot of the teams that we've played this year. We found a way to overcome it. We've played our asses off. We've gotten a lot out of this team. That being said, I don't think we're done. I don't think this team's just going to roll over and die.
They won't.
I don't. I think this
over and died all year.
I think there's a team that plays for Dable. And, yeah, when we go up against a team like Dallas that we just can't stack up with, we're not going to beat them. No, I mean, unless we play an A football game. Like, we got to play our best. And what was so depressing about that game, because, Baddog, I went into that game telling myself that Cowboys game on Thanksgiving, whatever happens, happens. Like, this is whatever. Like, we're not going to win. Like, obviously, but Dallas handed us that game. Dallas gave us the ball 3 times in the first half.
Yep.
That's what left you a little bit upset after that game.
And let's be honest, legal man downfield after we scored a touchdown. That one hurt. Oh, The third quarter, Dallas's first drive, third down from their 33. A phantom holding call that gives them a first down and extends the drive, and then we give up a touchdown pass on 3rd and goal from the 15. Like, that shit can't happen. But if those calls don't go against us, it's a totally different game.
Or if Daniel Jones hits Saquon Barkley and Barkley catches the ball, you don't know how that game turns out.
That's the thing. We can't afford to shoot ourselves in the foot. Dallas is good enough that they could overcome the mistakes against us.
Yeah.
See, Washington can't do that. If we can force Washington into turning the ball over 2 or 3 times in this game, we're going to win. We're going to win because they're not Dallas. They're good. They're not a bad team, but they're not Dallas.
No, we could beat them. We could beat them. I don't care what the negative fans say. We could beat them.
We definitely beat them.
Zach, man, thank you very much, man. I just read that. But yeah, listen, we got to start winning again, Zach. I don't know what to tell you, man. We got to get back on the horse and we got to stop this losing streak. I think this is where, and listen, no matter what happens for the rest of the year, Bad Dog, I'm going to have a very favorable impression of Brian Dable.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to have a very favorable impression of Joe Shane.
I think the first time the Giants have really faced any kind of turmoil this year. Adversity, right? So we'll see how they respond to it.
Yeah, I think Dable's first sign of adversity as a coach was the Adoree Jackson injury when he had him returning punts. I thought that was his first really questionable decision as a head coach.
I didn't like that either.
And now he's had 2 straight losses. So I think this is where you're having a little bit of adversity. And like I said, the Giants lose the rest of their games. I'm still going to be very optimistic about the future of this team and what this team's been able to accomplish this year. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think this team's going to grind and they're going to find a way to win a couple of the games down the stretch. And but yeah, listen, this is a really good test for Dable, how the team responds. And I'm excited about it. And I'm so excited for this week, man. I have not been this amped up for a football game since our last playoff game in 2016.
Because this is
I don't want to
first time since 2016 we played a meaningful game after Thanksgiving.
And I don't want to hear about the game when we played what was it? What was it? Dallas the last
2020 when we were trying to get to 6-10.
We were 5-10. We were 5-10. That was not the same. That was basically if you win this game, you're going to your imminent death. Like if you win this game and Philadelphia doesn't tank, you're going to your imminent death. You're going to get destroyed in the playoffs. No, this is a much different feeling. So, I'm so excited, man. I'm so excited to see how this team responds.
Yeah.
Tudo, he says, massive salute days to the 2 Giants Kings and for all the diehard Giants fans around the world. Slap all the stinky boys loses out the door and F the Skins loses as well. What's going on, Tudo, man? Thanks so much for being here, buddy.
I like how everybody still calls them the Skins.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, good call.
Nobody calls them the Commanders.
Yeah. By the way, did you see? What about you guys in the chat? Did you guys see the retiring of the Sean Taylor statue?
No.
Okay, so obviously you know Sean Taylor. So Washington had like this big announcement that they were going to have a statue for him. You know how like the Eagles have a statue for
Rocky, yeah.
No, yeah, Rocky. But you know what where I'm getting.
Yeah, I do.
They were going to have a statue. So they have this big get together. They have the whole whatever they have the cover over where the statue is. They pull off the cover, and it's a mannequin with a Washington jersey on and a helmet. Like when you go into Macy's, and you see one of the mannequins wearing the jeans and the shirt, that's what it was, but with his jersey on it and a helmet. That was their statue for Sean Taylor. I swear to God, I got to find this for you. It was
that franchise. What a disgrace.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Disgrace is right.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I gotta find this. Here it is. I got it. I'm gonna share. This was their statue for Sean Taylor. That was it.
Do they have price tags on his gear?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. It looks like you're going into Macy's to buy a jersey and cleats.
And a helmet.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, Robert Griffin tweeted that. Yeah, he deserved a statue.
Yeah.
And I don't think he means that he deserved that. I think he means he deserved a real statue.
Yeah. Incredible, right?
I don't know.
So there you go. That's how they
imagine the Giants doing that for Eli Manning.
My God. But I just thought that was hysterical when I saw it.
That's pretty sad.
I want to shout out Toba, man. Thank you for being a member, man, for 2 months. I'm thankful to have such great content creators like you and Baddog cover my team. No matter how this season ends, I'm proud. Listen, Toba, I'm going to tell you what right now. At the same time, let's kick ass. I know like my content hasn't been as frequent because I've started a new job. I am so excited. The content's going to pick up big time in the offseason. I was talking to, I cannot wait to cover this team in the offseason because there is so much. And obviously, I can't wait to cover the team for the rest of the season because I'm really excited for the next 6 games. But this offseason is going to be action-packed, Baddog. Oh, my God. You got Barkley, you got Jones, you got all these pending free agents. You got, obviously, we're going to have a little bit of caps, but like it is
the draft, of course.
Such a big offseason for the Giants.
Yeah, it's because this is really the first year that, Shane and Brandon Brown have their own scouts going out looking for holes for the Giants. So, absolutely. And the Giants have a lot of things that they're going to have to do. And, yeah, the Jones and Barkley thing are going to be huge. Are they going to let Kenny Golladay walk? Are they going to restructure Leonard Williams? Are they going to sign Andrew Thomas? Are they going to sign, all these other guys? So, without that, even my content hasn't been as much because there's really just nothing to talk about, which I guess is a good thing. They say no news is good news. Like last year was always a story about Joe Judge. Like this happened. They were so bad. There's always something. Like, can you believe that they got worse? Can you believe that they even fell farther?
We had like a month's worth of content of DeAndre Baker getting arrested.
Right. We had medium Pepsis for frickin' ticket holders. We had Joe Judge's rant. It never stopped.
Yeah.
It never stopped. This year, it's like, I want to do a video, but what do I talk about?
Yeah.
And there's really nothing going on. This is just a really big game.
But I'm telling you, I am so excited. I love I love where the Giants are right now, man. I love the direction this team is going in.
I'm going to love them more when we get this W on Sunday.
We're going to kick their ass. Jimmy, man, thank you very much, man. Pick your Uber driver, Xavier McKinney or Kyle. Well,
I'm taking McKinney because at least he's sober.
What? He can't be in an ATV, man.
Right. I'm taking McKinney because McKinney wasn't drinking.
Yeah, exactly. So, but our players, Baddog, should be in the Hall of Fame for the weirdest injuries in the history of the NFL. You've got a guy that shoots himself in the leg that wears sweatpants to a strip club. You've got a guy that gets hurt on an ATV. You got a guy that blows his hands off with a firework.
Yeah.
How do we do it? Like, what's next? Is somebody going to get bit by a shark, or what's going to happen next, Baddog?
Who knows? You never know. They might get a hernia taking a dump. Who knows this freaking team?
Yeah, exactly. Chris, man, what's going on? Chris, he says, my guys, fill in the blank. Based on the 2022 Giants season so far, most overrated, most underrated, best player, best new addition, most improved. That's a good question. Okay, most overrated. Listen, I'm going to stick with he's not on the team anymore, but I'm going to stick with the same guy I said before the start of the year, and people killed me for it. Kadarius Toney, I thought was the most overrated player.
My heart bleeds for him having a bad hamstring.
Oh, I'm so upset. Yeah. But so I would say him, or Golladay. Well, is Golladay even overrated at this point? Like going into the year, everybody was kind of off the wagon on him. So I'm going to stick with Toney. That was my preseason pick. Most underrated player on the Giants.
For me, it's Daniel Bellinger.
Yeah, I love him.
I just think he's so important to what we do offensively.
I love him.
And he's not a guy that's going 80 yards. He's not Travis Kelce. He's not Dallas Goedert. He's not George Kittle, but he's solid. And he's been so important to what we've done. So his absence was felt.
I'm going to give you I love the Bellinger answer. Ward's a good answer, too. I saw somebody say that.
Yeah, Jihad Ward's been really good,
He leads the team in terms of tackles for losses. That's a really good answer. I'm going to go with Moreau. I think Moreau's been really important for this team, and he's really stepped up in a big way. So I think all those guys could be good answers, but Moreau's played really well for the Giants, I think, especially based off what you could expect from him. So best player.
Barkley.
It's one of 3 guys. It's Barkley, Dexter Lawrence, or Andrew Thomas.
Barkley.
Andrew Thomas, damn good.
He is.
It's close.
I just think to myself, if we didn't have Barkley back there, I don't know.
I would say Barkley as well, but it's close. Andrew Thomas is really good.
Andrew Thomas is the best left tackle in the league. I said it.
Yeah. So,
but if we don't have Barkley, does it matter with Andrew Thomas?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's either Barkley or Thomas for me, and Dexter Lawrence needs to be considered too because he's been so good.
He's awesome.
Those three, I think all three of those guys are at least in the conversation for All-Pro. Like they've all been so good. I know Barkley's tailed off the last 2 weeks, but all three of those guys have been incredible this year. Best new addition. I mean, I would say Bellinger, but we already set him for something else, so I'm not going to say him again. I mean, you could say Kayvon Thibodeau. I know the sacks aren't there, Baddog, but Kayvon Thibodeau is making an impact. And Kayvon Thibodeau is going to be a hell of a lot better.
For me, best new addition, Brian Daboll. That's our best new addition.
Oh, yeah. Never mind.
That's our best new addition.
What the hell am I talking about? Brian
That's
Daboll.
Our best new addition.
100% Brian Daboll. Joe Shane and Brian Daboll. Those two.
Yeah, those are our best.
And
most improved is Dexter Lawrence. I don't think there's any question.
Oh, not even close.
I think he's the most improved.
Not even close. Andrew Thomas too. He's playing at an All-Pro level, but he was good last year, but not this good.
Dexter Lawrence is an absolute beast.
But yeah, Dexter Lawrence is. You know what? I'm going to throw another name in there for most improved. Julian Love.
Yeah, Julian Love.
Julian Love. And I'm going to show another player a lot of love.
Daniel Jones.
Well, him, I think he's played a lot better than a lot of fans give him credit for. Darius Slayton. Most underappreciated, myself included in this at times, most underappreciated New York Giant, Darius Slayton. He's done a hell of a job for this football team this year.
He's been awesome.
Yeah.
He's been like our one deep threat guy. He's our one big play guy out there. And the fact he took a pay cut, I mean, there was questions that he was hanging on by a thread because we needed money. He was making $2.6 million. He came in here as wide receiver number 5.
Yep.
And maybe even lower on the depth chart because of guys like Colin Johnson, who were having a great camp tore his Achilles. We lost Sterling Shepard to a torn Achilles. Kadarius Toney got traded. Kenny Galladay just sucks. Richie James fumbled twice. He got out. He took a pay cut to stay with the team, and he made the most of his opportunity. And he is back to being as good, if not better, than his rookie season when it looked like he was going to have a real, a big career. So he's been awesome.
Yeah, Slayton has stepped up. Slayton has stepped up. He stepped up so much, he's going to walk himself right into a good contract, in my opinion, this offseason. He's played great for the Giants. John, what's going on, man? Oh, yeah, that's right. John's a big Washington fan. Left hand up. Have you seen this new Washington, chant? That's what they say. They say the left hand up. I don't even know how it goes, but that's their chant. Left hand up. Well, this week, John, put your left hand in your pocket because we're going to kick your ass. He says, left hand up. Who are we? The Commanders. We'll see this week, John.
Put your left hand in your pocket and play pocket pool. Listen. Listen, that's terrible. Who are we? Man, listen, it should always be held to the Redskins. You should not even change. When they score a touchdown, you should go back to singing that song. The fans should be like, we're singing that song. That's what Washington is to me. Washington is John Riggins. Washington is Joe Theismann. Washington is Darryl Green, Dexter Manley, Charles Mann, right? That's Washington. Joe Gibbs.
Yeah.
Put his left hand up. We are the Commanders. What the hell is that?
I got to watch it again, but I remember watching.
I don't even want to watch. You know what I want to watch? I want to watch us beat their ass on Sunday.
Oh, we're going to beat their ass.
That's what I want to see. I want us to put our left hand up and punch right in the jaw with a damn. That's what I want. That's what I want. We got to win, man.
Let's go. John, man, thank you very much, man. Chris, can you, at Patricia, ask Daboll why? So you want me to ask Patricia to ask Daboll why he doesn't just line up Kenny Galladay in the slot? I'm going to write it down right now, John. I'm going to tweet her after this. Hold on. You want me to ask her to ask? Hold on. 1 second. I'm going to write this down in my notes. Ask Daboll why he doesn't line up Galladay in the slot every single.
Is it possible because he's not in the playbook as a slot wide receiver?
That could be part of it. He outsized every slot corner. John, for you, I'll ask it. I will ask her to ask him that, and I don't know if she's gonna. I can't guarantee that, but I'll tweet at her and I'll ask her to ask it. But
I'm just
he's not a
wondering
slot
because
receiver,
it's
like
a different
Baddog
playbook
said.
for a slot wide receiver, and you have to be quick and twitchy. Like he's not quick and twitchy.
Yeah.
It would be good because he's gonna if all he has to do is use his body like a guy get a rebound, box out. But you got to be quick off the ball if you're a slot guy. I just would like to know why he don't play.
Yeah, he's not a slot receiver. I could understand them say, because you do see teams do it to us where they'll take their number one that's not traditionally a slot guy and they'll try to take advantage of Darnay Holmes like you saw the Cowboys do it. But CD's not. He's different. He's a different type of receiver.
They definitely could try it. It's something different.
Yeah.
What they're doing with him now ain't working, so maybe it's not a bad idea.
But he's not a guy that you could put exclusively in the slot. He doesn't have the route running capabilities. He's not.
Well, maybe on 3rd and 5 though, it might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, it's not his game. But I'll ask her.
Maybe they feel they don't have the hands to play in the slot because the ball's going to come at you quick. I don't know.
I don't think it matters with Golladay. I don't think it matters if you're playing the slot.
I still have faith in you, Kenny. I still do.
I don't know
crazy.
how you have faith
I am crazy, but maybe I'm just waiting for something that's never going to happen. But yeah. I have a feeling it's going to be important before this year's over. He's not coming back here, but I have a feeling before this year's over.
We'll see. Jeremiah says, Baddog, you're so right about those calls. That is an 8-point swing in Dallas' favor. If that is in our favor, we win the game with the final score. You're probably right. I mean, it's at least a point per game.
The holding, not even the touchdown getting called back. That phantom holding call killed us.
Dude,
because they don't score a touchdown. We don't even know if they make the field goal. He probably would have. He's a good kicker.
I'm gonna tell you another thing. I can't stand Baddog because I've been watching the World Cup. Have you watched the World Cup at all?
I haven't. I work during the day. So
I've been listening to it because I've been working. I listen to it, but I have it on my phone, so I watch it in the background with the volume off.
Yeah.
But why is it when I watch a soccer match? Why is it when I watch a tennis match? They have the technology where they can get a call right no matter what. Where in the NFL, we rely on guys that probably need their eyes checked. They probably need another eye. Why can't we get that technology for the NFL? Because there are so many bad calls in the NFL, Baddog. Like, you go back to that play, I don't think he was too far down the field, the offensive lineman. Maybe it was like an inch, but at least show me the technology. Like, they should have technology in the NFL where we don't have to rely on these referees to screw up these football games. I understand you still need referees to judge, roughing the passers and stuff like that. But for penalties such as that one, they should have some kind of technology that could determine it where the referees don't.
Vegas.
Yeah.
There's way more money put on that than anything else sports. But you could probably combine all the other sports together. The money that goes in all those sports probably don't go to what goes into the NFL. But I don't know how much that has to do with it. But they should. Listen, they tried, right? They tried with the pass interference, reviewing the pass interference, and it was a complete disaster. They never overturned it.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why. Maybe it started with that. And then if that was actually successful, maybe they would. And maybe they also said, listen, if we start reviewing pass interference, where does it end? You want a review on every freaking play.
Yeah.
So that could be something to it too. But listen, the officials definitely did not do us any favors. It's not the reason we lost the game, but that did not help matters. That drive starting the third quarter for Dallas, that was so, because it would have been 13-10 and we would have got the ball back. Saying he made the field goal.
Right.
13-10. It's totally different than 14-13.
It's just so annoying, man.
It is annoying. And it happens against Dallas all the time.
It's so annoying.
What's annoying to me is Daniel Jones slides and gets hit in the head and they don't call anything.
They never call it for Daniel Jones.
Never call it for Daniel Jones.
If that's another like Lamar Jackson who runs frequently, he probably gets calls all the time. Daniel Jones doesn't get the calls when he slides. He doesn't get the calls. I don't get it.
Never.
Ever.
Never.
Jatone, man, thank you very much. Says, best duo around. Keep streaming, boys. Go Giants. What do you think about Will Levis falling to the Giants?
I don't want him.
I don't think it's going to happen. And I don't want him either, but I don't think it's going to happen. Every mock, and this could change, Baddog. We see this every year. Like, it's way too early to look at mock drafts, especially before the combine. For God's sakes, Baddog, this year, the number one pick that went to Jacksonville went there because of his combine workout. He went there because of the underwear Olympics. That's why Trayvon Walker went first overall, because he was nowhere near that before the combine.
Correct.
So you can't even analyze. Like, for people that do mock drafts in, like, October, November, like, what are you doing? What's the point? Unless you just want to get to know these prospects a little bit. It's kind of pointless until such time they go through the offseason process. But every mock I see is Will Levis going like 4th, 5th, 6th. A lot of people like this guy. A lot of people feel like he could be a good pro quarterback. I don't want him. I don't see a guy that has incredible ups. The only way I'm going to be on board with taking a quarterback. Well, listen, I'm not the guy who makes the decision. Joe Shane makes the decision. But the only way I think Joe Shane is going to be on board with taking a quarterback this year is if he feels that quarterback could be on the level, potentially. I'm not saying definitely will be, but could potentially be on the level of an upper echelon quarterback, a Pat Mahomes, a Josh Allen. If he doesn't see that kind of potential, he's not taking the guy. And I've watched probably 3 games of Will Levis this year. I don't see it. I think Will Levis is good. I think he's better than a lot of people give him credit for on Twitter. I see people mock Will Levis. I don't agree with that. I think Will Levis has talent. I think he's a tough kid. I think he has a pretty strong arm, but I don't see.
He's got good size.
He's got good size.
He's not good in the face of a blitz. He's not good under pressure.
I don't see upper echelon potential. He's better than Kenny Pickett. Much better than Kenny Pickett as a prospect, but
this quarterback class this past year is horrible.
But I don't see it, and I'm going to tell you another thing. You talked about it briefly on Patricia Traina's stream, and I was a fan of C.J. Stroud. Like, I was doing a lot of research on these quarterbacks going in to the season because obviously I thought if the Giants win 4 or 5 games, there's a very high probability we could be drafting a quarterback. And I was a fan of C.J. Stroud going in. I watched a lot of his film breakdowns. I watched a lot of his highlights. I'm like, he's polished. Like, he's got great footwork. He just looks smooth.
He also has the best receivers in the country.
The way that he reads. C.J. Stroud does not have an A-plus arm.
I don't like him.
He does not.
He does not
have
play
an
well in bad weather, and weather ain't good up here in the winter. John May says he sounds like DJ. Will Levis is very similar to Daniel Jones.
I could see that. I could see that.
I'd rather just stay with Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has been in the NFL. Daniel Jones knows our system. Daniel Jones is a good reporter in the locker room. He's a leader. People respect him. I'd just much rather stay with him. But yeah, Stroud, I feel like all the quarterbacks that have big names kind of fell down. And again, Bryce Young is still good, but not like he was last year. I've said before, Hendon Hooker is definitely a gadget quarterback. It's a quick, just hurry up. We have 11 plays on a wristband. We're going to run back and throw it. We're not going to huddle.
25.
What's that?
He's 25 years old.
And not to mention, he just tore his ACL. So, I mean, he's well, I've said it before. I'll say it again. My favorite quarterback in this class is Michael Penix. I'm not saying that the Giants need to go out and get Michael Penix, but I like him. Will Levis also puts mayonnaise in his coffee, so we got issues right there.
That alone, he's off my draft board.
He's off my draft board. I can't get on board with a guy.
I can't put mayonnaise in a sandwich, let alone a coffee.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't like mayonnaise, but I understand people putting it on their sandwich. I don't get it in the coffee.
Oh, I'm not going to. I could draft you if you put it on your sandwich, but if I'm a talent evaluator, you're putting your coffee.
Yeah,
you drop 3 rounds.
There's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Something wrong with
that. Yeah, I'm on.
And MY Giants 26 says it's soccer cleats too, not even football. What do you? I don't even know what you're referencing. MY Giants 26. It's soccer cleats too, not even football.
I don't know.
I wish I knew. I wish I knew what he meant. It's soccer cleats too, not even football. I'm sure he's referencing something that we were talking about earlier. Mass Deadly, Matt, thank you very much, man. Dan Snyder needs to sell the franchise, and the new franchise owner needs to do the statue right. Didn't some come out that
he was selling the team? Yeah, there's some
rumor about it, right?
I don't know if he's selling it or there's a rumor about. Listen, Dan Snyder needs to keep Washington as long as he can.
I just realized. By the way, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just want to make sure he doesn't donate again because I know sometimes when I say that I don't get it, and he just did it. Damn it. Sorry on my Giants 26 because I saw his next super chat. He was talking about the statue. It was soccer cleats instead of football cleats. So I just realized it. But go ahead, Baddog. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that was pretty much it. I just keep Daniel Snyder there, please.
Yeah.
He's one of the worst owners in football.
I would love for them to keep Daniel Snyder there. He's done such a great job for Washington. Just like I hope they keep Jerry Jones in Dallas. And
I hope Jerry Jones lives to be 200.
You hope he's a man.
Patricia Traina's. The only reason Dallas would take Odell Beckham, that's what they do. They don't think about stuff. Jerry Jones is like, give me the attention. We'll take Beckham for $30 million for 2 years. We'll take him just because we want the attention. That's why they don't win anything. He's not trying to win. He's just trying to garner the most attention that he can.
Yeah. Yeah.
So take them.
And NY Giants 26 says Washington pulled a medium Pepsi on that statue. That's worse than a medium Pepsi. Like
That's
like you build a statue, Bad Dog. When you announce you're building a statue, like that's something that's supposed to be like the Mets, for example. I know you're not a Mets fan, but they built a Tom Seaver statue that's like massive. And they made a huge deal about it, and it is well worth the huge deal. Like when you pull up the City Field, like you could see that thing from 10,000 feet away. Like it's, and it pays tribute to one of your legends. You tell your fans of your team that you're going to be building a statue. You don't show up with a mannequin from Macy's. Like, what are you doing?
I don't know what the hell they're doing. They're Washington. I don't think they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Again, I don't have any hatred for Washington, but let's face it. I think they've had double-digit wins 4 times since their last Super Bowl. Okay, they are it's the owner. The owner sucks, and a Washington fan's not going to argue. If John Freeman's still in here, ask him. I'm sure he wants Dan Snyder to sell the team. You'd be hard pressed to find a Washington fan that sit there and go, "No, I want Dan Snyder to keep the team."
No,
they probably want him gone, just like Knicks fans want James Dolan gone. Can you blame them?
Dude.
When it's 30 years of crap, well, with the Knicks, it's 20, but with Washington, it's 30 years of garbage.
Same thing with Mets fans with the old owners, with Wilpon.
Wilpons, right. So when you have a bad owner, you're like, please. So that just speaks to how bad that owner is, because he totally disgraced Sean Taylor.
Yeah, it's disgusting. I feel bad for them at this point, Washington fans, because they've been such like a he's done such a horrible. It's been story after story with them. He had the Gruden sex.
I don't feel too bad for him. We got our own problems. We got our own problems here.
Yeah, we do. We've had our fair share.
I don't feel too bad for them. As a matter of fact, I kind of like that they've kept us company outside of the year that they won the division by default. But I kind of like that they keep us company. And really, I wish we were both at the top of this division. That's what I'm waiting for.
One day.
I'm waiting for the Giants and Washington to battle it out for the division. I can't wait for that day again.
It'll happen one day.
I'm waiting.
One day.
It's going to be fun just that these two teams are battling for playoff spot again. But I still want the entire NFC East to the playoffs. I think that'd be the coolest thing.
I'm going to map out this for you right now. This is the way that could happen. This is the way. I'm going to pull up the schedule right now. The Seattle schedule, because that's really the key team. This is the way that all 4 teams in the NFCs could make the playoffs. Let me pull up Seattle. Here we go. So this is Seattle's remaining schedule. And I want you to tell me if you think this could happen. Let me just scroll down. So for all 4 teams in the NFC to make the playoffs.
By the way, quick shout out to my brother-in-law. Thank you for your Vegas Raiders, and Josh Jacobs for beating Seattle. Appreciate you. That helped a lot.
Big time. Big time.
A lot.
So for all 4 teams in the NFCs to make the playoffs, they all got to get to 9 wins, meaning the Giants have to win 2, Washington has to win 2, and obviously Dallas and the Eagles are going to get there.
Yep.
And Seattle, especially because they own the tiebreaker against the Giants, would have to win 8 games or less. They're really the only team that could ruin this from happening. They, of course, already have 6 wins. So they would have to go 2-4 over the last 6 games. They've got the 49ers and they've got at the Chiefs. Let's say they lose both of those games. Because, to me, those are the 2 of the top 3 or 4 teams in the NFL. Okay?
Yep.
You got the Jets who are playing well. And then you got 2 games against the Rams and 1 game against Carolina. Could you see them dropping 4?
No.
So you think at least 3-3?
I think 3-3. I could see the Jets beating them. They're not losing to the Rams. The Rams don't even have Stafford. He's probably done for the year.
Yeah.
So you're not.
Can they pull off an upset? Can they win 1? Is it possible?
The Rams, definitely not that last game of the year.
Yeah.
Carolina.
You don't see it. You don't see it. You don't see
Carolina. I mean, it's in Seattle. Like, that's the hard thing.
Yeah. Seattle's a tough place to play.
No Cooper Kupp, no Matt Stafford. Like, it's hard for me to say. I'd love the Rams to win that, obviously, but
yeah. So you see it. You see it.
3-3 at worst.
Yeah, and with a chance to go 4-2. That's what you see.
Yeah,
you're probably right. But you never know. If they go 3-3, they could go 2-4. They could have a stinker. You never know.
You don't know. It's not like Seattle's a great team.
They've overachieved this year.
They definitely, they're like us. I mean, they definitely could. We lost to the Lions, right?
Yeah.
So they definitely could lose to Carolina. They definitely could lose one to the Rams. It's not like the Rams like them. They're in the same division. It's a divisional game. We never, ever count a team out in a divisional game. I just wish Stafford was healthy.
Yeah, but you never know. That's why they play the games. But I'm not. It's not that I'm banking on that. But I'm just saying that would be how every team in the NFC would make.
Third and goal. I'm just laughing because Mac Jones is at the 35-yard line on third and goal, and he almost threw an interception. I think he just got tired.
Mac Jones is bad. Luke, man, thank you very much, man. He says, so good to have Ojulari and Neal back. We're going to kick Washington's butt. Can't wait. Yeah, and don't leave out Bellinger. But, yeah, we're definitely getting some key contributors back this week. And it's nice. It's nice to have Ojulari and Thibodeau in the same lineup at the same time, Luke, because we really haven't seen it this year. So I'm excited for that duo, man, to finally get to see them on the field at the same time. And hopefully they do some damage. I can't wait for it. Samuel says, Tin Man hurt Bad Dog is licking his chops.
Why? I mean, listen, what I find ironic is I don't care what Kadarius Toney does, right? Whatever. Yeah, right. He's not a Giant anymore. But I do find it ironic that he scored a touchdown and made fun, like mocked his hamstring, and then he ended up hurting it. And Travis Kelce, I know the Giants let that guy go. I don't know, let the talent walk out the door. You're going to find out.
There's your answer right there.
Right. When he's out 12 games with, whatever.
The guy had an injury history in college, and I don't think it's going away in the pros. The guy can't stand.
He is very talented, but he can't stay on the field.
Yeah. So hopefully, I mean, listen, I got nothing against the guy. Hopefully he stays healthy, but
I don't care what he does.
I think that was a big
I found him mocking his hamstring and then hurting his hamstring ironic.
Yeah, it was ironic.
But on top of that, screw him.
And Dyer, man, thank you very much, man. Hey, fellas, about OBJ, Bad Dog, how crazy is this? We went an hour into this stream on a day where Odell Beckham visited the New York Giants, and we didn't talk about Odell Beckham for an hour. That tells me two things. One, neither one of us thinks Odell Beckham's going to be a Giant. It's a snowball's chance in hell. Two, this game has such a high magnitude because if this was a bullshit game, if this was last year, that's all we would talk about the entire stream.
Yeah, I can tell you this. I did a video on Odell Beckham because I knew he was visiting the Giants yesterday, and it is the lowest viewed video that I've had in like 2 months. So that tells you that the interest, either like you said, this game is extremely important, way more important than Odell Beckham. And number two, I just think that ship has sailed. And I think Giants fans have come to the realization he's not coming here. And I think that Giants fans have come to the realization that he's not going to help us this year. Maybe in the future he will. I still feel like he's retiring a Giant just because he's not going to come here this year, probably next year. I still feel like before he hangs his cleats up, he will be here when we are in the situation that the Rams were in, where they just had to add a veteran wide receiver, and we can make a run at the Super Bowl. I think he's coming here. I still think he's coming here, just not in the next couple of years.
I could see that, but I don't think it's going to be this year, like you said.
No. 2024 or beyond.
But let me read the rest of that. He says, hey, fellas, about OBJ signing, him makes no sense to me. He's coming off a major recent injury, and he would want a middle-of-the-road contract. I'm going to pose the same question to the chat that I posed to Patricia Traina and her chat. And be honest with yourself. And I understand, Bad Dog. I get it. I understand, because I was a kid. I was a younger fan. I was in love with Tiki Barber. I was in love with Eli Manning. Like, I get it. And I get it like a lot of younger fans didn't get to experience winning like we did. They didn't get to see those Super Bowls.
Yeah, for me, it was Lawrence Taylor. That was my
Lawrence Taylor for you. All they've experienced is losing. And Odell Beckham was their shining light. So I understand it. And he's an exciting player. He was an incredible New York Giant.
He was fun to watch.
But be honest with yourself. If he was never a New York Giant, if he was a Seattle Seahawk, if he was a New England Patriot, if he was a Chicago Bear,
Dallas Cowboy,
whatever it is, any team but the Giants, was never a Giant his entire career. And I told you the guy's 30 years old. He tore his ACL for the second time 9 months ago. Would you think it's a good idea to sign the guy with the team like the New York Giants currently have? We're a rebuilding football team. Be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Because and I've been honest the entire time, unless it's just like a very cheap 1-year prove-it deal. At that point, whatever. Take a shot, see what he's got. But if it means a 3-year commitment to a guy coming off of that, 30 years old, no, I think it's a horrible idea. And I think Joe Shane will think it's a horrible idea.
Yeah. He's not. We're rebuilding. When you rebuild, you're building for the future. You're not looking back at the past. They had a great past with the Giants. But again, coming off 2 ACLs, 30 years old, not in a position to make an impact, especially this year. And they didn't work him out. He's not working out for any of the teams. He's visiting with Dallas in a couple of days, visiting with Buffalo. He's not working out for any of them. So I really don't know what any of this accomplishes. But we'll see what happens to him. Somebody's going to take him. It might not be this year. Dallas might not take him. If any team's going to, I don't think the Bills are going to, because their cap situation is just like ours. Is right about the same. Patty says there's a little over $2 million. We actually have more money than Buffalo. Dallas has like $6.3 million. Buffalo don't need him. Dallas really don't need him either, but Dallas is the team that's just going to be like I said, Jerry Jones, like, I want attention, and I want to stick it to the Giants. I know their fans love Odell Beckham. He's like, he knows.
Yeah.
They love Odell. What's a better way to stick it to the Giants fans than to take their favorite player and make him wear a Dallas Cowboys uniform? And I really think Odell Beckham and Joe Shane, they're talking about, hey, let's drive the price up on Dallas. Let's act like we're going to sign, and then make Dallas give me $28 million for 2 years. Yes.
All right. I'm reading Josina Anderson's tweet right now because I saw somebody in the chat say that Josina is saying that there's a good chance he's going to be a Giant. She says, "What's the benchmark for a multi?" To me, this just seems like Josina Anderson loves Odell Beckham and she's trying to get him as much money as possible. She writes in the tweet, "What's the benchmark for a multi-year deal for Odell Beckham? Michael Gallup, Allen Robinson, Kenny Golladay." You're telling me Josina Anderson, by the way, this is supposed to be a paid professional. She worked for ESPN. You're telling me you think the market for a 30-year-old receiver 9 months off his second ACL tear is 4 years, $72 million? Are you on drugs?
She's not a GM for a reason.
Are you on crack? If a team gives him that, I guess that's his worth, but they'd be nuts to do it.
They'd be on crack if they gave him that.
But listen, this is what's happening right now. Odell Beckham, in my opinion, this is just.
I'd rather have Kenny Golladay, to be honest with
you. Odell Beckham, in my opinion, is using the New York Giants, and he should, by the way. I'm not faulting him for it. He's trying to get as much money as he possibly can. He knows it's going to stir up engagement. He knows the fan base is going to go bananas, and he knows that that's his best chance to get as much money as he possibly can by the fan base, by the media, making it a story, putting pressure on the New York Giants, whether it's the Giants or whether it's the Dallas Cowboys. But that's what he's doing, and it's a smart move on his part.
John Mason, maybe John May mentioned it. Maybe she's Odell's agent.
Yeah,
he didn't
I
say
don't
that.
know.
He said she works for Odell, but maybe she's his agent.
But I don't think he's going to be a Giant. I never thought he was going to be a Giant. If he is, I'll say I was wrong, and I'll be excited for it because I know the fan base will be excited for it. But I just don't see it. I don't see it unless we have so many pending free agents. Like, you're going to give this guy. Imagine if we gave him 4 years, $72 million. Like, what would your video be like, Baddog?
I'd be pissed off.
Yeah, you'd be pissed off.
I'd be pissed off.
Yeah,
what are we doing? Off. We just gave a guy in his prime 4 years, $72 million, and it was absolute trash for us.
But I don't know. I just don't see it happening. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll be wrong. Ant says Ojulari return makes a bigger impact than OBJ. Of course it does. So does Evan Neal. So does Daniel Bellinger.
God, yes. Listen, my opinion is this. I don't want to pay Odell Beckham money unless it's the league minimum. And he's just coming here to approve a deal, like you said, 1 year. I want a 21-year-old guy out of college to play for half the money with 2 good ACLs and, his whole career ahead of him. That's what I'd rather have here.
I don't know if Foxy Dog is, I don't know what his it may be out of context, so I'm not trying to offend anybody. But Foxy Dog says, have OBJ run routes next to Kenny Golladay for comparison. I don't know if he's sticking up for him. I don't know. But here's what I'll say. If what you're arguing is, well, if he's better than Kenny Golladay, he's worth that. No, that doesn't mean he's worth it. That just means that Kenny Golladay wasn't worth it. Right. Just because you made a mistake with Kenny Golladay doesn't mean you make the same mistake again. Kenny Golladay is not worth 72 cents, let alone $72 million. So that, just because he may be better than Kenny Galladay, what does that mean? David Sills is better than Kenny Galladay. He beat him out in training camp. Means nothing.
So did Richie James.
Means nothing.
Colin Johnson would have beat him out too.
Yeah, so that means nothing to me. And NY Giant 20. Oh, that was the super chat that you gave me. Yeah, the Sean Taylor statue. Yeah, that's that. I'm sorry that you had to donate that I didn't get it the first time. RCP says we never said it was going to be a statue. Also, okay, maybe it was taken out of context on social media. Again, I'm not a Washington fan, but that was the story all over social media. So it's possible it was taken out of context. We never said it was going to be a statue. Also, the Sean family had input and liked it. Well, they got to get better taste. When we get a new stadium, Joe Gibbs and Sean are getting a statue. Okay, listen, I don't know the full story, but that's how it was portrayed, and maybe that is I'm sure that is probably the truth.
Joe Gibbs should have got a statue a long time ago.
Joe Gibbs is one of the greatest head coaches of all time.
He's the only coach to win a Super Bowl with 3 different quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Joe Gibbs should have had a statue a long time ago.
Yeah.
So should George Allen, for that matter. But
yeah.
George Allen didn't coach his whole career with Washington. Took him to the Super Bowl, but I think George Allen coached the Chargers too.
I've said this several times. Joe Gibbs' accomplishment is arguably the most impressive accomplishment by a head coach in the history of the NFL.
He was awesome.
He won 3 Super Bowls.
It's a big reason I don't hate Washington the way I do the other teams.
Think about this.
Because I hated Jimmy Johnson. I hated Buddy Ryan.
Yeah.
I have nothing but respect for Joe Gibbs.
Think about this, chat. And I know you know it, Bad Dog, but a lot of people that are listening may not. What was the time span between Super Bowls? Was it about 8 years? Three Super Bowls in about 8 years or so?
Yeah, from 82 to 91.
Okay, so in about
3 Super Bowls, and they played in 4. They were actually 14 and 2. Their 1983 team, well, their 91 team was really good, but that 83 team was the highest scoring team in the history of football. Riggins broke the rushing touchdown record that year.
Yeah.
Washington lost 2 games by a total of, I think, like 6 points. It wasn't a lot. And they got blown out by the Raiders in the Super Bowl. But they played in 4 Super Bowls in 8 years. You could really say them and the Niners between 1981 and 1991 were the best teams in the NFL.
And that's very impressive, but several coaches have done that before. That is not what makes it arguably the most impressive accomplishment in the history of the NFL for a head coach. What makes it, in my opinion, possibly the greatest accomplishment by a head coach in a 9-year stretch. He won 3 Super Bowls with 3 different starting quarterbacks.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Yeah. That's a hell of a job in terms of being a head coach.
He also did it with 3 different starting running backs.
That's incredible.
But that was, Theismann, Doug Williams, and Mark Rippon.
That's incredible. That to me is one of, if not the greatest accomplishment ever by a head coach, top 2 or 3.
And then you can add to Joe Gibbs' legend by how many NASCAR championships did the man win?
He did. He won
a lot.
Yeah. And Chris, man, thank you very much, man. I'm going to the game. Awesome, man. I hope you enjoy the game, man. I hope you enjoy the game, Chris. It's the crowd's going to be incredible there. I hope you have a great time, man. And Benjamin, man, thank you very much, man. He says the Rams fell off harder. Oh, God. The Rams fell off harder than KP with Max's slum. We are disgraceful this season. It doesn't shock me that Philly 500 plays with Mark Holmes' chest. Benjamin, I'm being honest with you, and I know L.A. Lou, who I don't think he's in here. I haven't seen him tonight, but I know L.A. Lou's obviously a great supporter of both of ours, and he's a Rams fan. You're a Rams fan. And it was well worth it. You won the Super Bowl.
Yes.
The Rams are in a world of hurt.
They are.
They're in a world of hurt. But, hey, listen, they're going to rebuild. They'll get back. If McVay stays there, they'll turn it around quick because he's a great.
Benjamin, we know what you're about to go through, and it ain't pretty.
Yeah. But if they keep McVay, they could flip it quick. He's a great coach.
Yeah,
but it's going to take some time.
It's hard to flip. It's hard to flip anything when you have no draft picks and no cap space.
Yeah, it's going to take some time.
We actually had draft picks and no cap space, But I tell you what, if we would have won a Super Bowl in 2016, this 5 years of horrible shit that we went through would have been well worth it to me.
Yeah, but listen, I think it's entirely possible, and Benjamin may not want to hear this, and Rams fans may not want to hear this. I think McVay might be out of there soon. Because if you're McVay with his credentials, do you want to sit through a 3 or 4 year rebuild when you could go jump to another team and have your pick of the quarterback and start? Like, I could see McVay jumping ship soon with the Rams. We'll see.
Yeah.
If he does, they could be in a lot of trouble.
Yep. All right, I gotta go potty real quick.
You go potty.
Yep, potty rain room time.
And Jeremiah says, back with Taylor and company, that was the East, Giants and Washington. Yeah, I mean, listen, the 1980s was an incredible time for the NFC East. It was an incredible time for Big East basketball, too. I didn't get to experience it either, but that's when both were at their heights. But the NFC East in the 80s, I mean, my God. I mean, the division as a whole has, 13 combined Super Bowls, and you had 3 from Washington in that stretch. You had 2 from the Giants in that stretch. In the mid-90s, you had another 3 from Dallas. So basically, in a 10 to 15-year window, you had 8 Super Bowls from that division, and they were going to the Super Bowl every year. NFC's dominated during that stretch. That's when the NFC was the NFC beast, which it looks like we're starting to get back to. MY Giants 26 says, careful with the KT slander, Chris. Find something safe to do. Oh, God. I still can't believe that guy tweeted at me. And then he sent me another diss tweet after they got rid of him, which I think was at me, but, we'll never know. But that was the way that I interpreted it. But whatever, it is what it is. Best of luck to him. Talik, he says, OBJ never playing on this turf, maybe next year. Yeah, because next year we're getting rid of the turf, supposedly. We'll see. I don't even know if OBJ is going to play this year. He's not working out for these teams.
No, I don't think he
will.
But
like Baddog, how do you sign the guy for this year, coming off the injury he's coming off of, if you don't see him work out?
You can't.
I don't even know if he's playing this year.
I don't think he is.
I don't know. But
he's not working out for any of them. Not just
I'm not signing you if you're not working out for me, coming off that injury.
Oh.
So maybe it's him just gauging the interest of teams for next year. I don't know. It would make sense for him to try to hit the market next year with how thin the wide receiver market is. He could potentially get a pretty good contract.
Yeah.
John says he's working out for us tomorrow. Really? Maybe that came out. I don't know. Patricia told us on the stream today.
Yeah, the New York Post said he's not working out for the Giants, he's not working out for the Bills, and he's not working out for Dallas. And they said that he wouldn't be able to have 3 workouts in 5 days anyway. So they said the way they were going to gauge him is by what the doctors said about his knee. That was in the New York Post, but that was this afternoon.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. If he doesn't work out, I can't imagine anybody signing him in season. Why? How could you? So it may just be in preparation for next year. I don't know.
Yeah. This dude said bad dog ain't wiped. DQ, unlike you, I stand up to piss, so I don't have to wipe. Maybe
he must have thought you had a vagina.
I don't know, but
he must have thought you had a vagina, Bad Dog. He must have thought you had a vagina.
No, I don't know. Like I said, I know he probably squats to piss, but I don't. So I can write my name in the snow and all this other stuff. I don't know what you got going on down there, but I'm all man, baby.
Did he really think that you took a dump that quick?
No, I don't know. What are you talking about?
Synagogue Steak, man, what's going on, man? OBJ has the it factor. His health is another it. I don't know. It's too big of an if to me to give him any, especially without a workout. There's no way. The it factor. Listen, OBJ's popular. I get it. He's very popular amongst Giants fans, amongst fans in the NFL, and that's what's drawing up a lot of the interest. If it wasn't OBJ, there wouldn't be this much interest, right? So we'll see. We'll see if he gets a contract somewhere that's worth it. But if he's not working out for these teams, he's not going to get a contract. Maybe there'll be a follow-up meeting. I don't know. T, thank you so much. Who did the Rams lose that sent them south? Well, they had a lot of injuries this year, T.
Stafford, Cup.
Yeah, they had a lot of injuries.
Couple. They got a real bad start though. Anyway.
Yeah,
well, kind of had like a Super Bowl hangover.
Stafford was playing hurt too at the beginning of the year, but the problem is when you don't have draft picks, when like say they had those draft picks over the last 3 years, they give up all these first round draft picks when they trade for Stafford, when they trade for Jalen Ramsey, when they trade for this, you would have had guys ready to step in and fill a lot of these holes that right now you don't have because you didn't have those draft picks. So when you have a couple of injuries and Stafford starts to tail off and play, which he clearly has, and you look at like Russell, he's kind of tailed off like Russell Wilson. It's been such a weird year for the quarterback position.
Russell Wilson is not it.
But Yeah, I think you've seen a big regression from Stafford, and obviously they've had some injuries. They also lost a lot of players to free agency. So it's a
Von Miller's
combination.
not there, right? He went to
Yeah, Von Miller,
Buffalo.
they lost a number of players. When you win a Super Bowl, that happens, especially when you have their cap situation. So it was, listen, we all knew it. That was not a team that was built to last. It worked.
Yeah.
Credit to them. They did it in an unconventional way. Credit to them. But you don't keep a team afloat for more than 4 or 5 years if you build a team that way.
No.
You want to keep a team afloat for a decade, 15 years. You build it the way the Ravens have. You build it the way the Patriots did. You build it the way the Steelers did. You keep building through the draft. You don't overpay for your players. It worked. Had the Rams not won the Super Bowl last year, I don't even care if they make the Super Bowl. If they didn't win that Super Bowl, that would have been a huge whip.
Oh, failure.
All those draft picks they gave up, that would have been a huge whip. They took a huge gamble and it paid off, but now they're paying for it.
That's all right. You pay. It's hard to win a Super Bowl. It's hard to win a Super Bowl.
It's worth it. And that was really their only way they could win it because they didn't have a franchise quarterback.
Right.
When you have Pat Mahomes, you could be more patient. When you have, when you
Joe Burrow.
Like the Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill. They were like, well, we got Pat Mahomes. Like, we'll get Sky Moore. He'll turn into something. Like, we got Pat
Mecole Hardman, whatever.
We'll get that draft cap, and we're not. But when you don't have that guy,
we'll go out and trade for Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, oh God. But that's the difference. The Rams didn't have that guy, so they took the swing and they hit a home run. It worked.
Yes.
Let's see what we got. I think we need to play Brightwell and Breida. I saw that Brightwell was on the injury report today, Steve. I don't know how serious it is. He might have been on Darius Slayton got to talk about that earlier, Baddog, but I think Brightwell had the illness as well. I could be wrong on that, but I think I saw that on the injury report. But Darius Slayton picked up that bug that
Thomas
had. It's not good.
Well, hopefully he's got a couple days to recover, and I mean, stomach bugs don't usually last a long time. They're usually like a day or two. So hopefully he's good by Sunday.
Hopefully, because you saw Andrew Thomas play last week. That was not the Andrew Thomas we know and love.
No, you got to stay hydrated. Well, Thomas had no time in between either.
Yeah.
So you got to stay hydrated, man. Otherwise, it's going to tire you out. So hopefully Slayton's 100% by that game because we're going to need him. We're going to need
BB13. And listen, BB13, he comes in here, he takes shots at the Giants, and he's a Cowboys fan. He's always in my streams. I respect it. So I want to say thank you for watching my channel. I hate you, Cowboys. But he says you build the way the Cowboys did. When talking about, I give the Cowboys credit all the time in terms of the way they built their team. They drafted very well. They were very forward-thinking with a lot of their contracts. The Tyron Smith contract was brilliant. They gave him an 8-year extension 3 years into his career. That looks really good. But they screwed up along the way. That Zeke contract, 6 years, BB. Terrible. I don't know about that one. That Dak contract, even though I'm sure you want to defend them, I don't know about that one. So I agree. They built the team the right way, but I think it's starting to go off the rails a little bit. They're still a good team. You're still a good team and a very good team. And we'll see if you can continue to overcome it. But yeah, the Cowboys have drafted incredibly well. They've been one of the best teams over the last decade in terms of drafting.
They built it very well because they built their offensive line first, and then they addressed the quarterback in the backfield.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Yeah, I give them credit all the time.
You got a good quarterback in the 4th round. That is definitely how you do it. But they've been very successful, but they haven't been as successful as they would like to be.
They haven't won. And that's all that matters.
Not when it matters most.
Yeah, that's all that matters at the end of the day. But no, listen, I want to build my team.
But they did build it properly.
Yeah, they built well.
And then they go out and they draft a guy like Micah Parsons. So there's no question, man. They've done fine.
Yeah, I mean, Zach Martin, like Tyron Smith, like
Travis Frederick until he got hurt.
Like that
Frederick was really good.
The way they built that team is how I always say I want to build a team.
Yep.
They went early on, line.
The Cowboys fans were pissed. They were doing that. Cowboys fans are pissed off.
I know they were, but that's the right way to build a team.
Yep.
They got the foundation. Then they draft a quarterback that they don't know if he's going to work out or not, but because of the supporting cast, he was able to be successful.
Right.
And then when they hit a speed bump, They went out and they made the moves. They got Amari Cooper. They make the trade. They got him the weapons. They got obviously Gallup and CeeDee Lamb, but they didn't get those weapons before they built the line. They didn't put the cart before the horse. So they built the team the right way. I give them credit for that.
Yep, they did.
They still suck. I still hate the Dallas Cowboys, but they did build the team the right way.
They did. And listen, they could afford to take Dak because they still had Tony Romo. Now, they didn't know Romo was going to end up having to go. Romo was nearing the end of his career, but they didn't expect Romo to go out with the back injury Dak's rookie season. Like, they figured Dak would have a year on the bench. Dak got thrown into it, and he was really good his rookie year. And I'm not saying Dak is great, but he's above average. He still makes a lot of bad mistakes when it matters most. Like, it seems like it happens when it matters most. Whatever. I hated Tony Romo when he played for the Cowboys, but I love him as an announcer.
Tony Romo was a good quarterback.
I think Tony Romo was a great quarterback.
Yeah, he's a good
Tony Romo was underrated.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, I thought Tony Romo was a really good quarterback. I hated his guts when he played for the Cowboys.
But he's a good quarterback.
He's a fantastic analyst. I absolutely love listening to him call a game. Let
me ask you this, Bad Dog. At their peaks, because to me, in terms of I always love getting into these quarterback conversations because,
Romo is better than McNabb, if that's what you're going to ask.
No, I wasn't going to ask McNabb.
Okay.
Actually. I think Romo at his best was better than Phillip Rivers at his best. But I think Phillip Rivers was a compiler, and he did it for a much longer period of time. But I think Romo at his peak was better than Phillip Rivers.
I could see that. I think Romo at his peak was a poor man's Brett Favre, which is certainly not an insult. I think Romo had a lot of Brett Favre in him. The way Brett Favre played, he kind of improvised. He was able to escape. And Romo was a tough son of a bitch. I remember Romo playing with like broken ribs. He lacerated something, lacerated spleen, broken, whatever the hell it was. He was tough. He was tough. Now that he's retired, I can say good things about him. I couldn't say that. I couldn't stomach to say that when he was playing, but no, he was. I do. I think at his peak, he was a poor man's Brett Favre. I think that's how good Romo was. And yeah, I could see.
I love these. I love these. Wayne says, I literally just pulled up a text where the guy didn't donate. I think the last three I pulled up, they didn't donate. But I love seeing these. Chris Abando, you only read text. Did you just see the text I just read? I don't get these people. Like if a guy gives me $5, you want me to ignore the guy? I don't get it. I don't get it.
They want attention, man. They just struggle. It is what it is.
I just talked about BB13's text that was not a donation for about 10 minutes.
You know how these people are. It gets old real quick, but it is what it is.
BB13 says Romo was on teams that had to score 30 plus. Yeah, they built their team was built awful. They didn't have an offensive line. They didn't. I felt bad for Romo actually when I saw that. Not that I felt bad for him. I hated him, but I always thought if Romo never got hurt in 2016, Dallas might have won the Super Bowl because that team was so good, and Dak wasn't ready yet. He was a rookie. I know they won 13 games, but Romo was better. He just got hurt. Dak came in and he inherited the league's best offensive line. Ezekiel Elliott, who was the best running back.
Yeah, Romo didn't get to play with Zeke.
Yeah, he didn't get to play with that line really.
Right.
When they hit their peak. So I think in 2016, if Romo is not hurt, they might have won the Super Bowl that year.
They could have. They probably would have had a better chance.
Yeah.
And it's not because Dak didn't have a great rookie season, because he did. I think he threw 23 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. But the playoffs are a different animal, and he had no experience.
Yeah.
So, we swept him that year. It's the only time we beat Dak.
Yeah.
This rookie season, we swept him.
Yeah, we did. We were good that year.
Our defense was fantastic that year.
Yeah. Landon says, what was your guys' favorite win so far this season?
The one against Baltimore. That was huge for us.
Yeah, I got to go Baltimore as well.
The Tennessee win was awesome, but I feel like the Baltimore win kind of put us on the map. That it's like we came back from 10 points down against Lamar Jackson, forced him into a bit, turnovers. We came back to win that game. It looked like it was not going to be a win. The Packers one was good too, but The win against Baltimore to me was like, wow, we beat the Titans, and then we didn't know the Packers were going to be bad at that time. So I'm like, man, we just beat the Titans, the Packers, and the Ravens.
Yeah,
That's
I'm gonna
made me
go.
believe that we were good.
I'm gonna go Baltimore as well, and my reasoning is similar to yours. Like the Titans game might have been the funnest because you had the field goal at the end of the game. It came down to the wire. But even after the Titans game, if I'm being honest with you, Bad Dog, I was still like, this is probably still a 6 or 7 win team.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably, we got a little luck there at the end of the game. They missed a field goal. We fought hard in the second half. We came back, and that Baltimore game was the first time where I was like completely convinced that we're probably going to make the playoffs this year.
Yep.
And we may not now because we've had a ton of injuries, and we'll see. But at that point in time, after that win, I was like, this is going to be a playoff team, or at least going to be playing right down to the end.
I thought so too. To me, that made me a believer.
That was the win where I was like,
that was a big one.
Especially when you factored in Bad Dog, it was off a short rest, coming back from London. And it was, and at that point, it had become a pattern. You had another double-digit comeback victory at halftime.
Yeah,
I agree with you. That was our best win.
That was a bit. That was. But I'll tell you what, Landon. Our favorite win hasn't happened yet because perhaps it's in 2 weeks against Philadelphia. Wouldn't you love to do that?
Nothing better than
we beat Philadelphia. That'll be my favorite win of the season.
Nothing better than beating the Eagles. Nothing better than beating the Eagles.
Except maybe the Cowboys. But we didn't get to do that again. One of these days.
And Diehard, man, thank you very much, man. Saw that I was highlighted for a second there with a history of bad mods and fair reaction of your chat. I don't know how to act. Is there set rules for your mods to stick to? No, I guess I should be better with that. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, the only thing I ever say is if somebody says something racist, get them the hell out of here. If somebody overly spamming, like they come in there obnoxious, kick them out. That's about it. That's all. I'm not overly demanding it. I want it to be civil, but obviously I want people to come in here and be able to express their opinions as well. I don't want it to be if somebody doesn't agree with me, that's fine. As long as they're respectful to everybody in the chat and everything else. So I guess that's my rules with my mom.
Always my rules too. No spam, no racism, no threats.
Yeah.
I don't
that's
care.
It. Yeah, that's it. Just be respectful to everybody in the chat. That's it.
Yep. I never worry about people insulting me because number one, I think it's funny half the time. But number two, I don't mind.
Like this guy. Like this guy.
I don't mind responding.
Here you go. You wanted a job to do? Here you go.
Oh, that guy? Yeah.
You get rid of him. Right on cue. Thanks for coming in, DP. And he's going to come in with 8 more accounts. So be on your toes, diehard Giants fan.
What do you think that guy does for a living?
I think that guy, if I had to picture what
DP... I bet you he squats when he pees.
He definitely squats when he pees. He definitely is at least 375 pounds.
Oh, so he doesn't know where it is. So he
does.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. That's a good question. I'm trying to.
That guy really does have like a thing for you.
He does. He comes into every stream.
He comes into when you're on my channel. It's the same thing. And my mods get rid of him right away. But I'm thinking to myself, like, I know there's some people that don't like me, but God, I never see them go through that. Like, they don't go through that much effort. I think after a point, like, okay, this ain't worth it anymore. They're like, whatever, I'll find something else to do. This dude, or whatever.
No, Diehard, no, thank you, Diehard, for asking. I appreciate that you care. So thank you. But that's, I mean, basically it's just be respectful to one another. Don't spam the chat, and that's it.
Yeah.
If they drop porn and you want to check it out, go ahead, but get rid of that as well. There you go. Yeah. And Zach, man, he says Mac Jones is going to be checking the tape tomorrow. I didn't get a chance to watch that game. I know Baddog said
the Bills won 24-10.
24-10. Yeah, I know you said he threw a really bad interception. Mac Jones sucks. Yeah. Mac Jones is bad.
Yeah.
Last year, people were saying that Mac Jones is a pretty good quarterback. Like, people don't ever take into account like the situations these quarterbacks are put into. Like, he's not good. Watch the guy play. What about Mac Jones?
He had a pretty good team around him in Alabama.
Yeah. Mac Jones is bad. I would never want a quarterback like Mac Jones to be my quarterback.
That's the other thing, man. Name me a good Alabama quarterback. Namath? Were we going way back there? Stabler?
Yeah.
When's the last time a quarterback from Alabama came into the NFL and succeeded? Tua?
Joe Namath. Oh, Tua, yeah. Joe Namath.
Jalen Hurts. I guess Jalen Hurts. I mean, Hurts played at Oklahoma, or I'm sorry, Alabama, and moved to Oklahoma. I guess Tua would be the guy.
Yeah, Tua's the guy.
Good.
Tua's been very good this year.
Tua's good.
Jalen Hurts to me doesn't count. He's more well. Where did Hurts play the majority?
Hurts played there.
He's Oklahoma.
Hurts played there for a couple of years, and he was benched for Tua. Then he transferred to Oklahoma.
Yeah,
but I always say if Hurts didn't go to Oklahoma, I don't know if he would have been drafted. He certainly wouldn't have been drafted in the second round. Oklahoma definitely helped him out.
Of course. Lincoln Riley. Yeah.
Right. Nick Saban's not a guy that's like, go chuck the ball around 60 times. Lincoln Riley's like, hey, go throw the ball around. Listen.
Because here's what I'm going to ask. Here's what I'm going to ask, because I see everybody saying Hurts for Alabama. If Hurts counts for Alabama, then Joe Burrow needs to count for Ohio State.
Yes.
And if Joe Burrow counts for Ohio State, I don't want to hear people bashing Ohio State quarterbacks anymore.
They don't have any good quarterbacks either.
Yeah. So if you're going to count Hurts for Alabama, then Joe Burrow counts for Ohio State.
Hurts was drafted out of Oklahoma, so he wasn't drafted out of Alabama. And that's, I don't consider him. He did play there, but he also got benched for Tua. Tua's the guy that I'd say is the good quarterback that came out of Bama. The problem with Tua is he gets hurt a lot, but he's good.
Yeah. Tua's played very well. I mean, he's got the two best. He's got the best receiving core in the football.
I love the Jalen Waddle come out of that draft.
I mean, so that helps. But no, he's played very well this year.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got. Put Tua with the Giants wide receiver. Well, he obviously doesn't look the same.
Of course. Put Pat Mahomes with the Giants wide receivers.
Put any quarterback with the Giants wide receivers, they're not going to look the same.
Yeah, put Jalen Hurts with that Giants team.
Pat Mahomes is still great. He's not going to look like Pat Mahomes with Kansas City.
Right. But Joe Burrow on the Giants.
Yeah. So would Caleb Williams be USC or
He's going to be USC.
USC.
He played 1 year at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
As a freshman. And listen, he's got the same coach. So that helps. I mean, he's got Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley transferred. He went over there. Caleb Williams is great. I don't give a damn where the hell the guy played. Caleb Williams can play. Caleb Williams is freaking he's great.
Caleb Williams is there's two players. I've watched a lot more college football this year. There are two players in college football I would bet the house on are going to be three players. One is in this draft. Two is in the next draft. I would bet everything I own on are going to be great pros. Anderson this year on Alabama. On Alabama, the edge rusher.
Yep.
I think he's the best prospect in next year's draft. You just watch him. He's ridiculous. Caleb Williams in 2024 and Marvin Harrison Jr. in 2024.
Oh, yeah. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a beast.
Marvin Harrison Jr. might be the second pick in next year's draft.
And just think about it. C.J. Stroud has him to throw to, and C.J. Stroud's at a down year. The best receiving core. Now, Caleb Williams has great receivers, too. Mario Williams, Jordan Addison, they can play. But, listen, again, Caleb Williams, I've been touting him since last year when he was a freshman at Oklahoma. His skill set is ridiculous. But the same thing with Michael Penix. He played at Indiana, but he's going to get drafted out of Washington.
He's a Washington quarterback.
I think he's a fifth-year senior, too. I think he redshirted and he got injured or something. So Penix is I think Penix is 24. But I could be wrong about that, but I thought he was a little older. I thought he had an extra year in college. But I really like him a lot. So we'll see.
But Marvin Harrison, dude, I mean, you just watch that guy.
He's ridiculous.
He's got, what is he, like 6'4"? Like, he's tall. He's lanky. He runs great routes.
Well, I mean, his dad is a Hall of Famer. So
he
got good lineage.
It's crazy. He has a better prospect than his dad was.
Oh, God, yes.
Better prospect. I'm not saying he's going to be a better pro.
Absolutely.
He is one of the greatest wide receiver prospects I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's
like,
good.
you could just watch him, and you're like, the second this guy enters the NFL, he's going to be one of the top 5 receivers in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, he's
He'll be one of the top 5 picks in the NFL, too.
He's that good. He's going to be really good. Des, man, thank you very much, man. I can't wait for my New York Giants t-shirt with my name and number 7 on it. It is Big Blue home jersey shirt. I can't wait to wear it. Go Big Blue, man. Thank you so much for being here, Desmond. I really appreciate it, man. And hey, man, good. Can't wait till you get that shirt, man. Hopefully it brings good luck. If we win this week, you keep wearing it.
Yep.
Dyert says Hurts is nothing on Duke or the Giants. Oh, so he's going back to college. I saw Authentic in the chat. I don't know if he still is. He's going to get upset about that because Hurts is his guy.
Asia, what's going on? My latest see Asia's in the chat.
Good to see Asia in the chat. Always like to shout her out.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. It's hypotheticals. I can tell you this. Hurts is not the same Hurts you see in Philadelphia with the New York Giants. But that's not a slight on Hurts. That's a slight on the New York Giants. Right. I'll tell you that. I'll say that convincingly. And Daniel Jones is better on the Eagles than he is on the New York Giants because it's just common sense. You're shifting from a bottom 10 offensive line to a top 1 or 2 offensive line. And you're shifting from the worst wide receiving core to one of the top 5. So it's just common sense. Not to mention Hurts is in the second year of the same offense. Jones in the first year of his third offense. I'll say that.
Easier said than done, but I still believe if you squeeze Hurts in the pocket, he ain't beating you. I still will say that.
We'll find out in the playoffs.
He definitely has improved a lot. And I've always said Jalen Hurts' work ethic is fantastic. He's a good kid. I rooted for Jalen Hurts. I hate that he plays for Philadelphia. I hate that he went there. But I didn't think he'd be as good as he is. I can tell you that. I never thought that. I still don't trust him from the pocket. If you can keep him in there, which is easier said than done, they make him throw those deep out routes. I don't think he's got the accuracy of the arm to throw. I still don't think he can do that. It helps having A.J. Brown. That's a fact. And it helps when Hurts runs 20 times a game for 150 yards. That helps too. But I still feel like the game plan to beat them is to make him be a thrower and take your chances.
49ers,
you're in trouble.
49ers are going to beat them in the playoffs. They match up very well with the Philadelphia.
Washington matched up very well with them.
And the Dallas Cowboys, I think, could beat them.
Even Hurts against Green Bay, he didn't throw the ball well.
But we'll see.
He ran it extremely well.
We'll find out.
Well, we will find out. They're a good team. I'll take anything away from
the Eagles. Are great.
I freaking hate the Eagles, but they're a great team.
They've got incredible weapons. They got incredible offensive line. They're great. They got a very good defensive line.
They got good running backs. Miles Sanders, good running back. That little squirt Boston Scotty's okay. Gainwell's not bad.
Yeah, we'll find out. The Imp Man, thank you very much. He says, "Hi boys, sorry I'm late. Here's my 2 cents. Neither Cleveland or the Rams 1-0 smell." Odell speaks volumes. Can't get on a freaking plane without a problem. Yeah, did you see that video he came out today? And thanks, I appreciate that, Imp. Did you see that video he came out with today? I think it was on Instagram where he was mocking the plane video.
I did not see that, which I'm surprised because I follow him on.
He came out with a video where he was like, it was basically, I forgot what it said, like, not this time with like laughing faces or something like that, where he was mocking because he was on a plane in the video. He was mocking himself getting kicked off the airplane. As far as that goes, Imp, I mean, the Rams doesn't make a whole lot of sense. They're 4-8. So I maybe that Odell doesn't have much interest in them as much as, and he probably sees a sinking ship, right, with Stafford, and he's hurt and he's older. They got a bad cap situation. So I don't view the Rams at this point as a very desirable location to go to outside of McVay, who's a great play caller. Cleveland, this year they're not desirable. Next year, yeah. Getting to play alongside Amari Cooper,
and Deshaun Watson.
But why would Cleveland want Odell Beckham back? Right. I mean,
Deshaun Watson's also going to be their quarterback next year.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
He actually isn't he? When's he coming back?
This week. This week, okay. And he's playing Houston, by the way, in Houston.
Interesting.
So that's a great storyline this week. But
so Houston wins.
Yeah,
with Kyle Allen.
That'd be hilarious. But yeah, I mean, why would Cleveland want him back? He forced his way off the football team, so it was much dirtier, much sloppier, I think, than the New York Giants departure. Yeah. Where he had his dad go on social media and basically forced his way out of there. So I'm not surprised Cleveland doesn't want him back. Dire Man, thank you very much, man. Scratch that. Hurts isn't drafted if playing for Duke. You might be right. I don't know. You might be right. We'll never know that, but he might be right.
Yeah.
Listen, you look at the talent that Duke team had. For Daniel Jones to get that team to a bowl game, they didn't have a single player drafted, I believe, if I recall, over the 4 years where Daniel Jones was the quarterback, outside of Daniel Jones. That Duke team, they led the country in drop balls. So he was ready to play for the Giants. He played for the Giants of college football.
Yeah, listen. I told this story before. Duke had 2 players besides him actually go to the combine, not get drafted, 2 other players on that team actually got invited to the NFL Combine. Nobody else even made it there. That's what he played with at Duke, which is why when we drafted him, I was pissed off, as everybody knows. Right? 10 million people saw that reaction. Not my best moment. And then again, I don't have a lot of good moments on here, so it's different. Nobody wants the good moments. They all want those Daniel Jones moments. But when I watched tape like Joe Judge and I saw a lack of talent around him, I said, I think Daniel Jones can play. I think Daniel Jones can be a good quarterback. Now,
I see, by the way,
I give him some talent, and they didn't.
I see Cole saying they played bad teams. They didn't. They played in the ACC. It's not like they played in like D2.
Yeah, Clemson's pretty good.
Clemson's
I mean, know about Clemson.
Florida State.
I think Clemson won a championship when Daniel Jones was there.
Like, there's no, like, they had the least amount of talent in that conference. I don't even think there's a debate.
Right.
Like, that
he led him to 2 bowl games.
He led him to 2 bowl games. Like, it was
Florida
impressive
State,
what he did.
NC State, North Carolina, they're all pretty good teams.
Yeah, I mean, like
Pittsburgh.
Like you may say that it's not the best conference, but Duke is the worst team in that conference, and it's one of the top 5 conferences, top 6. You got the Big 12, you got the Pac-12, you've got the SEC, of course, yeah, Big 10, and then probably the ACC's in the discussion after that. Yeah. So it's one of the 5 or 6 top conferences.
You got the group of 5. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
consider that.
And John, man, thank you very much. He says, I may transfer to USC next year as a junior. Maybe I will have a class with a Caleb. That would be awesome.
That would be pretty awesome.
That would be a really cool school to go to, USC. I can't even imagine how fun that must be.
I can't wait for that. That game's actually tomorrow. I gotta see
who are they playing.
USC and Utah. Utah's the only team.
Oh, that's a good game. Utah's good.
Utah beat them, but Cam Rising sucks. So
they got a really good defense, though. That'll be good to see Caleb Williams go up against that defense.
Well, Utah beat them. I think that's the one loss USC has.
And Adam, man, thank you very much, man. Mike Francesa said this week he doesn't see the Giants signing Jones to a longer contract. I agree. That's been my mindset the entire time. That he could get elsewhere as a starter. Whose channel for? It's gonna be my channel, Adam. I agree with that. I think it's gonna be a short-term commitment to Jones, but I think in the end, Jones, if the Giants are willing to do that, I don't see, Adam, if I'm being honest, and it's not because it's not possible he could get to this point. Daniel Jones may eventually get to this point. We don't know. It's still a hypothetical. It's up in the air. But I don't think any team in the NFL is going to be willing to give Daniel Jones a 5-year commitment. It's not a proven concept yet. It's hypotheticals.
Yeah.
So I think if the Giants offer Daniel Jones a 3-year deal with a 2-year opt-out, something like that, and you could still draft a quarterback if you're committed for 2 years with Jones if things go south, if you're Shane, the following year. Even if you're still committed for 1 more year with Jones, you could start the year, you could transfer to the quarterback if you feel like Jones isn't going to be the answer. But if they offer Jones a deal like that, 3 years, 75, 80 million, whatever it would be, with the ability to get out after 2, and another team's willing to give him 4 or 3 for 100, he's going to stay with the Giants. And I'm going to tell you why. He'd be a fool not to. It would be the first time in his career that he would be able to play a second year in a modern day NFL offense, an offense that he's accustomed to, an offense that he's now used to playing in, that he should only improve upon in his second year. If you're Jones, you're going to go sign up with another team and play in your 4th offense in 5 years or whatever it is. Like, no, if the Giants offer him at least a comparable deal to what his market price is going to be, he's coming back here. In my opinion, I think he'll come back.
Yeah. Not to mention, listen, if Jones gets a 3-year deal, what would he be? 27, 28 when that deal's up? So he'd be right in the prime of his career. So wouldn't he rather, and again, as opposed to a team giving him 4 years, $100 million, or maybe he's not as good because he'd have to relearn an offense and a new system and maybe not going to the best situation, because the teams in the best situations have the best quarterbacks already. So he wouldn't be going into a winning situation. Where would he go? Carolina, Washington? Like, I don't know where he would end up, but if you're getting 3 years from the Giants and you ball out, then you're going to get your big ass contract.
Yeah, whether it's the Giants or whether it's somewhere else.
They're 28 years old, then he could get a 6-year, $180 million, whatever, $200 million, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks have a longer shelf life than a running back. Like, Barkley needs to get paid right now. Barkley needs to get his contract right now. Running backs don't have that shelf life. They usually get one massive contract because they're in the prime of their career at the first contract. Second contract, they're like there, and then they start to curtail, especially when you've had the injury history Barkley has. So he's going to want to cash in, and I don't blame him for that.
Yeah.
But Jones is going to have more than one big contract. So if he says, listen, I'm going to stay here with Daboll, I'm going to stay here with the front office, I like the direction they're going, I'm going to start getting I'm going to start winning a lot more games. We're going to have a chance to be championship contenders here, and then I'm going to get paid.
Yeah,
So,
I listen. I see Alvin say I could see him getting a Trubisky. He's getting more than a Trubisky contract. Trubisky got like what, $13 million.
Trubisky sucks.
He's getting more than that. Jones is going to get more than that. Whether it's with the Giants or whether it's with someone else. There's too many quarterback needy teams. And look at the potential free agent quarterbacks. There's not 11, 12 quarterbacks in this year's draft that are going to be starters next year. And look at the potential free agents. I'm not counting Lamar Jackson. He's going back with the Ravens. They're going to keep him. Who else do you got? I mean, Daniel Jones is at the top of the potential free agent quarterbacks. If the New York Giants were to let him go, it's simple supply and demand, and teams are going to see what he was able to accomplish with as little as he had with the New York Giants. And there's going to be a team that convinces themselves and say, "Yeah, I'm only give this guy 25." Listen, Baddog, look at some of we go over this all the time. Flynn got a big contract after he had one game with the Green Bay Packers. The Seahawks gave him a pretty good contract for that point in time. You look at what's his name, the tall quarterback from Denver. I always forget.
Brock Osweiler.
Brock Osweiler got a massive contract. Like, there was going to be a team, if he hits the open market, that is going to give Daniel Jones a contract.
Yep.
I'm not saying they're going to give him 5 years, but there's going to be a team that gives this guy 3 years, $80 million.
Oh, absolutely.
There absolutely will be.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to happen. I think Giants are going to keep him.
Yeah, I saw it. Then I said, Baddog just made me crave a Coke. I'll be right back.
I think Trubisky got like $13 million. Not much. He's going to get more than that.
Yeah.
And
Trubisky's a backup anyway.
Yeah. And the imp, why do we want him back? Rams and Cleveland don't. You're talking about Beckham. I understand that circumstance, but he's a divisive clown and a professional dust. I'm not going to get into all that, imp. I always say all the time, I was too hard on Beckham at the end. Personally, I actually have regrets with that. I didn't like what he did. I didn't like what he did to Eli. I'll tell you that. I still don't. I thought he was out of bounds with that, but I was a little too hard on Beckham. I'm not going to get into that, though, in terms of that. I wish him the best, whether he comes back with the New York Giants or whether he doesn't. But I think the big reason why people want him back is the nostalgia factor as much as anything. And obviously, we're starved for wide receivers. But I think if people were thinking not with their heart and more with their brain, they would be like, well, I'd rather get a 22-year-old guy that could be Beckham rather than a 30-year-old Beckham that's off 2 ACL tears. So I think it's more, I think people are thinking with their heart, and I understand it. He's Odell Beckham. He's one of the greatest players in New York Giants history. So I understand it, but I don't think Joe Shane's going to think with his heart. I think
Chris
he's going to
mentioned this earlier. It's really not our generation. If Beckham came back here out of the right price and right, I'm not going to kill the front office.
No,
I'm trusting in what they do. But if you don't come back here, I don't care. It'd be a nice story. We're not in a position to take on an Odell Beckham, but like Chris mentioned, this team hasn't won a Super Bowl since 2011, which means at the very earliest to understand what's going on in football, I'm going to say you had to be born in 2003, which means you're 19 if you saw that now. So most of the fan base that is in their teens, the only good memory of the Giants they have is Odell Beckham, because we have sucked for 10 years outside 2016 where we squeaked into the playoffs and got blown out by Green Bay. That is their only legitimately good memory. A lot of these fans did not see Eli in his prime, and they don't think Eli was a good quarterback because they don't understand. They didn't see him play. They saw him at the end of his career. The only good thing that they saw out of this offense was Odell Beckham. So they love Odell Beckham, and I get it. And I also mentioned fantasy football. People are player fans. It's just a different generation. Me, I'm not saying I want him back here. I would rather draft a wide receiver. I'd rather go out and get a Marvin Mims or
I want to find my new Odell Beckham. I want to find my new Odell Beckham on a rookie contract.
Right.
That's what I want.
I never remember that kid out of TCU. I like him a lot too.
Oh, he's great.
But there's a lot of receivers I like. Jordan Addison, Mario Williams. There's a couple from Ohio State.
Good. Yeah.
So,
but yeah, no. Listen, to me, if you think logically, you don't think with your heart. And I said it during Patricia. I think I said it during the stream. If Odell Beckham was never a New York Giant and he was always a Chicago Bear or some random team, would you think it was a great idea to sign him? And I think if you're being completely honest with yourself, based off where this franchise currently is, you'd probably say no. Based off the 2 ACL tears, the fact that he's still only 9 months removed from it, and the fact that we're not a team that's ready to win a Super Bowl right now. I think you'd probably say no if you're being honest with yourself. But I understand the nostalgia factor. I understand you think with your heart, and I get it. And if he becomes a Giant, I'll be happy because I know the fan base will be happy. And I do think he could help the team if he's healthy.
Right.
But I don't think we're going to go that route. I don't think the New York Giants are going to commit that kind of money to Odell Beckham. I just don't.
I don't either.
And Brent very much, he says, I mean, if scouts, GMs can assess his ability with no NFL-bound players in college, why can't the New York Giants do so? That's on Shane. I think you're talking about Jones, I'm assuming. I mean, if scouts, GMs can assess his ability with no NFL-bound players in college, he's got to be talking about Jones because we were just talking about Duke.
Yeah.
Why can't the New York Giants do so now? That's on Shane. Well, I think Shane is assessing Daniel Jones, if that's what you're asking.
Right.
I think he is. He's talked about that all year, how he's analyzing him. But I also think Joe Shane is smart enough not to look at his stats and be like, well, Tua's got 19 touchdowns. My guy's only got 11 or whatever Daniel Jones has. And he's smart. He's even said it. He's smart enough to realize he's got nothing at wide receiver. He's even talked about how he's had to address the offensive line first because he didn't want Daniel Jones to get killed. Next year, they'll go after the wide receiver. He's literally said that in interviews. So I think he's smart enough to realize the situation, if that's what you're saying. He knows Daniel Jones doesn't have the same dogs that Tua's got or that Jalen Hurts has, and he's not dumb. He knows that.
And I think that's a big reason why he didn't trade for Jerry Jeudy. I feel like they said, I saw enough out of him throwing to these guys. I'm not giving up future draft capital. We'll get him his own wide receiver. By the way, Bruiser B, Bruiser B put it in the chat. Quentin Johnston's is the guy.
Yeah, he's a beast. He's
another guy. I mean, there are good receivers in this draft. There are very good receivers in this draft.
Authentic says Jones has 2 more touchdowns than Russell Wilson, who's playing awful. Russell Wilson has a wide receiver who New York Giants were creaming their pants over and were willing to trade a first-round pick, Jerry Jeudy. He's much better than any receiver we have. And they have another wide receiver on that team, Courtland Sutton, who's much better than any wide receiver that we have. I don't know what to tell you. And New York Blight, man, thank you very much, man. So what's your guys' score prediction for Sunday and how many yards from Barkley? I think I said 26-21 on Patricia Traynor. So, and Baddog, what did you say? 21-20?
21-20 because Rivera goes for 2 at the end of the game and doesn't get it.
Yeah, so I got the New York Giants 26-21. Baddog's got
21-20 Giants.
Yeah, they have 5 touchdowns combined, Authentic, because Russell Wilson sucks. He's not playing well. But they're good receivers. I mean, Jerry Jeudy was a first-round pick. Courtland Sutton's really, I mean.
How many touchdowns do our wide receivers have combined?
Kenny Golladay has none since he's been a Giant.
Kadarius
Toney never caught one.
He never had any.
And all of our receivers have been hurt.
Yeah.
Like, are we really comparing Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy
to Richie James and David Sills?
David Sills. You're talking about Jerry Jeudy was the best wide receiver, or thought to be the best wide receiver in his draft class out of Alabama. Courtland Sutton was a high draft pick. Richie James was this close to being out of the league. David Sills was this close to working at Walmart. It's not even comparable in terms of talent. It's not even comparable.
The GM is going to consider that this quarterback's not throwing touchdowns. He also has to consider the game plan. He's not asked to throw touchdowns. He's not asked to do that. That's not the way the Giants are built. That's why Brian Daboll is a good coach. He's trying to win with what he knows our strengths are, and that's giving the ball to Barkley and letting Daniel Jones make the plays he has to. I also know in the fact that Daniel Jones has led this team down for 5 game-winning touchdowns in the 4th quarter this year, and he's shown resolve, and he's shown the ability to lead a team back and shown leadership. Is he still inconsistent? Yes, because like Chris mentioned on Patricia Trainor's channel, this franchise has been inconsistent ever since he's been here. Coaching changes, coordinator changes, GM changes, injuries left and right. He's throwing to guys that if we're not Giants fans, if Richie James is a Charger, nobody knows who the hell he is.
Just think about this.
David Sills is on the Detroit Lions. No Giants fan knows who the hell David Sills is.
Think about this, Baddog. You play fantasy football.
Yeah, I do, unfortunately.
How many of these wide receivers that are currently playing for the New York Giants were drafted in your fantasy league?
Kadarius Toney might have been.
He's not on the Giants anymore. He didn't play for the Giants this game.
Kenny Galladay may have been at the end.
He's not. He hasn't played really for the Giants.
Wan'Dale Robinson may have been at the end, but you got to remember,
You're in a keeper league.
You got to remember something. It's a keeper league, and there's a lot of Giants fans in the league.
I can tell you. I can tell you pretty much every other team in the league had at least one, if not two, wide receivers drafted in their fantasy leagues.
Here, let me tell you my wide receivers. Okay, this is what we're talking about. Okay, I have Jalen Waddle. He's pretty good. Right. I have Devontae Adams.
Yeah,
pretty good.
He's okay.
Chris Olave.
He's pretty good.
Pretty good. Right? We picked up Christian Watson. We didn't draft him. We also drafted Devontae Smith. So they're and Devontae Smith went later in the draft, but I think we took him in the 11th round. So yeah, that's how. I mean, those receivers are pretty damn good. Richie James was not drafted. David Sills was not drafted.
David Sills wasn't drafted, really?
Wan'Dale Robinson may have been. I don't even remember.
I mean, if Wan'Dale got drafted, he was drafted in like the last round or the second to last round.
Kenny Galladay was drafted very late. I do remember that.
Yeah. So,
but again, there's 12 guys in that league. I think 8 of them are Giants fans. We have a Lions fan in that league, a Jets fan, an Eagles fan, and a Chiefs fan. And then the rest are Giants fans.
But Tony hasn't played. So, okay, Tony was up. First off, Tony wasn't up there. He was drafted, but he wasn't up there. He wasn't ranked in like the top 30 fantasy receivers. But
no, he wasn't drafted early.
He was drafted, I'm sure.
He was drafted probably last year, but somebody kept him.
But he hasn't played. So it's like he hasn't played. New York Flight Man, thank you very much. Says, yo, what's your guys' score prediction for Sunday and how many yards for Barkley? I gave you the score predictions. Barkley, I think, is going to have a massive game. I said that. I think 11 days off. And I do think getting Bellinger back and Evan Neal is going to have an effect. So, I'm going to go 120 yards for Barkley. I think Barkley's going to have a big game this week. I really do. I think Barkley's going to have a huge game this week for the Giants. I
hope so. Listen, don't get old, people. I'm going to go to the rain room. I'm not going to wipe.
How many yards for Barkley?
126.
Is this the Price is Right? Like I said to Patricia Trainee, just up.
I didn't hear what you said because I'm concentrating like holding my bladder. What did you say?
I said 120.
Okay.
Close enough. Great minds think alike.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm not going to wipe, but I'll be right back. Don't get old, people, because your bladder can't hold liquid anymore. I'll be right back.
Jeremiah, man, thank you very much, man. Guys, mark my words. DJ and Saquon get extended, and in 2025, our 100th year anniversary, we win the Super Bowl. From your lips to God's ears, man. I don't care who the quarterback and the running back are. If we win a Super Bowl, I'm going to be going bananas. But it would be cool to see those two guys win. Two guys that a lot of the fan base read off. That would be a great story. I'd love to see it. But I don't care who is. If we win a Super Bowl, it don't matter. Whoever the players are, be incredible. Ayub, man, thank you very much, man. Stop capping for DJ. Enough is enough, new quarterback. All right, I'm going to go back to what I've said. And again, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And we'll see at the end of the year what the New York Giants do. And no matter what Joe Shane does, I'm going to support it. All I can do is give you guys my fair opinion on the team. What's the plan, Ayub? What's the plan? What's the plan? What's your plan? Because I hear people say this all the time. We got to move on. We got to move on. We got to move on. Well, what's your plan? I want to hear a plan, and I want to hear the quarterback that you want. I don't want to, I see this all the time on Twitter. I see people saying we got to take a quarterback. Well, there's 50 quarterbacks to draft. Tell me the quarterback you want, because I don't want to see you coming back to me 2 years later and saying, I told you we should have taken a quarterback when 1 out of the 30 that were drafted work out. So tell me the quarterback that you think is the answer. And tell me what you would do if you were the New York Giants GM. You would trade up, because that's what you're going to have to do. If you want to get the quarterback of your liking in this draft with all the quarterback needy teams, you would trade up. You would do what the Chiefs did. You would do what the 49ers did. Because I'm going to tell you what the Chiefs had that we don't when they made that move. They went to the playoffs 4 straight years. They were 12-4. They were number 1 seed in the AFC. And they had a guy named Travis Kelce, and they had a guy named Tyreek Hill. I'm going to tell you what the 49ers had when they made the trade to go up and get Trey Lance. They had Brandon Ayuk. They had Deebo Samuel. They had George Kittle. We have Walmart workers. So you want to trade away future draft capital to go up and get a quarterback. If you hit on that quarterback, you're going to look brilliant. If you miss, you're fired within 2 years. If you're giving up a future first-round pick, this year's first-round pick, and a second-round pick for the team that we currently have with all the holes that we have on this roster, you better hit on a slam dunk quarterback. He better be Josh Allen. He better be Pat Mahomes. And if you don't feel that way, you roll with Daniel Jones.
And I'll tell you what right now, if you miss like that, you really set your franchise back. Because
100%.
people think we missed on Daniel Jones as the franchise back. We didn't have to trade anything for Daniel Jones. That was just our pick. If you're trading away future first round and second round picks to move up to 6 and get a guy that fails, you're freaking screwed.
Get me. We're going to get to Ayub's next super chat in a second, but I'll tell you what the price would be to get the quarterback that you just suggested. Man, thank you very much. He says 6,481 yards, 51 touchdowns, 18.2 yards per catch versus 7,400 yards, 56 touchdowns, 13.1 yards per catch. Del Schaffner versus Odell when no one threw the ball. He's talking about an old school wide receiver versus Odell Beckham. I don't know much about him, the guy that he just suggested. Do you know him?
No clue.
I have no idea. So I can't tell you him. I can just tell you I watched Odell Beckham, and what I can tell you about Odell Beckham is he is the most talented receiver I've ever seen in a New York Giants uniform. I always say I don't think he's the greatest wide receiver I've ever seen in a New York Giants uniform. I give that distinction to Toomer because of how long he was a Giant. He won a Super Bowl. But in terms of talent, he is the most talented New York Giants wide receiver I've ever laid eyes on. I think Victor Cruz had the greatest single year in New York Giants history when you factor in the playoffs and the Super Bowl and everything else. But overall, in terms of talent, it's Odell Beckham for me. Ayub, he says, get me Bryce. He's a bowler. Okay. You want Bryce. Okay. Best case scenario, Ayub, we're going to be picking like 16. Like in terms of, well, obviously best case scenario is 32, but in terms of the highest we're probably going to be picking is like 15, 16. You agree with that, Baddog?
Yeah.
Middle of the draft. That's best
Middle
case.
Of the draft.
So Ayub, you want to trade up from 15 or 16 to number 1 because that's what it's going to take to get him. He's going first. Mm-hmm. And there's no guarantees that the team is picking first will even want to trade out because if they need a quarterback and they like Bryce Young, they're just going to take him. They're not going to trade out no matter what you offer.
Right.
But let's just say the team picking first.
Yeah, do you think the Texans are rolling with Davis Mills?
You think the Texans are just going to be like, yeah, I'm going to give up Bryce Young. Let me trade back to
they
16.
They just benched Davis Mills for Kyle Allen.
Like, can we be realistic? But let's just say, Baddog, let's play this fantasy game. Let's play this mock draft game that Ayub wants to play.
Let's play Madden.
Let's play Madden. And let's say that the Houston Texans want to trade out from 1 to 16. Let's say the Giants don't make the playoffs. We pick 16. We'll trade back. Do you know what the price would be, Bad Dog? So to trade up from 16
3
to
first-round picks?
Probably more.
Well, at least that's a start.
Yeah, that's a start. So it's just fantasy land. That's not happening. So give me another quarterback. Because Bryce Young, you're not getting.
It's just pure hatred for Daniel Jones. That's all that is.
It's not happening.
That's all that is. It's not realistic. It's just a guy that don't like Daniel Jones. But listen, man, like I said, I've been all over the spectrum with Daniel Jones, right? I have a hard time figuring him out. Some days I love him, some days I don't. This year, I really have had very bad. I have had very little bad to say about Jones. The only thing that I thought Jones did wrong was when he threw the interception to Aiden Hutchinson. I thought that was a bad throw. I thought that was a bad throw. I also thought he missed a couple throws in the Dallas game, okay? But he's human. But I feel like he's grown a lot this year. But the outright hatred some people have for this guy, and he has nothing. Like, I understand people like Daniel Jones is the perfect scenario. We don't even know that. Can we just get him some freaking talent to throw to? Any talent, any consistency. Can we at least see what he has if he's not throwing to Richie James, if he's not throwing to David Sills?
And what I say, Bad Dog, I want fans, if you don't like, if you're Ayub, if you don't like Daniel Jones and you don't think he's the guy, don't think of it. Like, if you're convinced Daniel Jones will not be the franchise quarterback for the New York Giants, which I can get on board with. Like, I can understand why somebody would have that opinion.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Okay. If that's your mindset, don't think of it that the New York Giants are getting wide receivers for Daniel Jones. Think of it that they're getting wide receivers for the quarterback. They're getting wide receivers for whoever eventually is going to become the long-term answer at quarterback. Rome's not built in a day.
I don't understand. What do you want from Daniel Jones? What do people want from him? That's what I want to know. Like, all I wanted from Daniel Jones is what he's done this year. Win games, man. Find a way to win games. Don't turn the ball over. Well, you know what? For the most part, he's done that this year. But again, I don't play Madden, so I don't come up with these video game scenarios. I do play fantasy football, okay, but I don't care about statistics. I'd much rather lose my fantasy football week than have the guy, than me. The Eagles are playing the Giants and I have Devontae Smith. I'd much rather the Giants win and Devontae Smith get shut the hell out than, I want Devontae Smith to have 230 yards, 3 touchdowns. The Giants lose. I don't care if the Giants lose. I want them on fantasy week. I'm the complete opposite. So, listen, I just want Daniel Jones to win games. I would like to see what the hell Daniel Jones has if they put some talent around him, which is why we talk about a 3 or 4 year deal and you're out after 2. If you build around him and the guy doesn't lead you, it doesn't improve, then you're out. We're not giving him 7 years. We're not sitting going, Daniel Jones is going to be our franchise quarterback for the next decade. That's not what we're looking at here. And I don't think that the front office is going to do that either. But we have to believe in whatever Joe Shane and Brandon Brown decide to do with this franchise. We have to believe in it.
And listen, Baddog, even though we may not agree with it, because I think it's way too big of a gamble right now with the overall roster that we have. If Joe Shane decides to trade up for a quarterback, I'm going to support it.
Yep.
But what I'm gonna say is if he does that, and I'm not going to be harsh year 1, I'm not going to even be harsh year 2. I'm going to give the quarterback time to develop. But if he does that, if he trades up with all the other holes on this roster, that quarterback better be eventually Josh Allen.
No, I'm not giving him 2 years. You give up all that draft capital, that dude better knock it out of the park. Year 1.
Then
year 1, you don't get no leeway from me. So you're trading away 3 first-round draft picks for a quarterback. I'm not being patient there.
So basically, what you're saying, Bad Dog, Joe Shane failed if he does it, because you and I both know if they do that with the current roster that we have and give up draft capital, that quarterback's not going to succeed year 1.
No,
we both know that. We
both
know that.
Hell no.
So it's a horrible idea.
You think Bryce Young comes in here throwing to Richie James and David Sills and Kenny Galladay?
He's throwing a better wide receivers where he is. He's throwing a better wide receivers where he is right now.
Right, exactly.
He's got a better offensive line than the Giants have right now.
Yeah, that's my point.
What are we talking about?
What is he going to be when he gets it? You think that, Bryce Young's going to come in here and the Giants are going to be 14-3 because they didn't improve any other part of the team, but the quarterback's good.
Oh, Dylan, man, thank you very much, man. Hot take, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud won't pan. I have to see where they get drafted. To me, quarterback success rate has as much to do with where they get drafted as anything else.
Correct.
If Bryce Young gets drafted to Houston, which he probably will, good luck.
Right.
So it depends where they get drafted. I think that has a lot to do with it.
If he gets drafted to Green Bay,
you're in good shape.
Or the Raiders.
Tampa Bay, pretty good spot.
Right.
New Orleans got a good offensive line. They got Olave, good young weapon. That'd be a good spot. But if he gets drafted to Houston, good luck.
Yeah.
Depends where they get drafted, man. Seattle be a pretty good spot. Good to see Goat. What's going on, Goat?
But Seattle's not going to be drafting high enough to get those guys.
Buck Josh, thank you very much. Says, give me a wide receiver or DB. We are pretty thin in that department. Let's keep Jones for a couple of years, like Alex Smith, build that foundation. That's what I think they're going to do. That's what I think they're going to do if I had to guess. And maybe they do take a second or third round quarterback like the 49ers did when they got Kaepernick, where that quarterback is clearly a bench quarterback for the first year and he sits. That's possible. I won't scream if they do that. And maybe if it's Michael Penix in the late second round and he sits for a year. Okay. Maybe that's what they do. I have no idea.
I don't think he's making it to the second.
I'm just saying. I'm just throwing a name out there. Or maybe the kid from Stanford. I forgot, McPhee or something. I can't remember. He's a pretty good prospect.
Or the kid from UCLA. DTR.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Darian Robinson. I forgot his middle name.
Yeah.
It's his hyphenated first name, but yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they do something like that. I have no idea. But I think trading up for a quarterback is a disaster.
I'll say this. If Michael Penix is there for us in the second round, I'm in.
Yeah.
Take him. I love Michael Penix, man.
And Buck says, give me a wide receiver. Oh, I just read that. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. I just want to push forward with the team that we have and keep filling the holes. So if Jones morphs into what we hope is a franchise quarterback, great. If he doesn't, I could do what the 49ers did. And I could bring in my quarterback when I have weapons like Brandon Ayuk, when I have weapons like George Kittle And when I have weapons like Deebo Samuel, or when I have weapons like, not to be on par, because those guys are incredible weapons, but when I have good weapons, I could bring that quarterback in and I don't set him up to fail like I did Daniel Jones. Because, Baddog, we know the key to win Super Bowls in the NFL is the rookie window.
Mm-hmm.
With what these quarterbacks make, that's where you have your opportunity. So if you're an NFL GM, unless you're enamored with a quarterback, why would you draft a quarterback when you know the first 2 years you're going to waste that rookie window? You're not winning a Super Bowl the first at least 2 years of that rookie salary, and you're probably not making the playoffs because the first year you're going to struggle a ton, and you gave up future draft capital in the following draft in order to get the guy. So why would you limit your window to really 2 years? Because it's really a 4-year window, because usually you sign them on the extension after 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Usually they're not going to play in a 1-year contract if they're playing well. So you're giving yourself a 2-year window to win a Super Bowl. Why wouldn't you try to maximize the talent on the team unless you're enamored with a quarterback to have a 4-year window to capitalize on that rookie quarterback salary?
Yeah, it wouldn't make any sense.
Makes no sense.
And the other thing is with the Giants, man, you just, if you have to address the quarterback spot in the draft, then it means you can't address the other parts of the team. And there's way more. The Giants have too many damn holes. It doesn't matter. Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, whoever you like coming out of college. Who the hell is he throwing to? Who is he throwing to? Galladay ain't going to be here. Sills and James aren't going to be here. Wan'Dale Robinson's going to miss part of the year, I would imagine. Sterling Shepard not coming back here. Maybe on a minimum deal, but I mean, you're throwing to a guy that's 28 years old, coming off of a torn Achilles tendon. And then, maybe Darius Slayton, depending on what he's offered in the free agent market. Who the hell is Bryce Young throwing to, or CJ Stroud? Like you said, they're throwing to better receivers in college right now. They're not gonna be able to take the receiving core with them into the Giants.
Yeah.
And then what do you do about your offensive line? How do you get a center? You take him in the second round. Still haven't addressed the wide receiver problem.
I want my quarterback to be able to be set up to succeed day one. That's what I want in an ideal world. Unless you find the next golden pony, then take him. But if you always do that, you never pass up on a quarterback that you feel like could be a Pat Mahomes. You do it. But unless you see that, you don't do it. The Carter says, nervous for this week. Stand up. We will we probably have to go wide receiver in the first round? I'm not going to say we have to do anything in the first round. I'm open to the New York Giants doing anything. You take the best player on your board, and a lot of it's going to depend on, especially when you're picking later in the first round, which I think the New York Giants probably will be, probably at least in the 16 to 18 range. Yep. You take the BPA that fits one of your needs.
You might even trade back.
You could trade back, get future draft capital, give yourself more insurance in case you want to move off Jones the following year.
Yeah.
So I don't want to pigeonhole myself that we need to take a wide receiver with that pick, because if a linebacker drops that you have way higher on your board, if a cornerback drops that you have way higher on your board, you take that said player. You don't just force a pick to force a pick. But obviously, wide receivers got to be near the top of the list in terms of need.
Absolutely.
So whether that be in free agency, whether that be via trade, whether that be in the draft, it has to be, one of the primary focuses this offseason. And my preference would be, in an ideal world, there is a wide receiver that fits BPA, or at least close to BPA, where we're picking, and you take that guy because it's a clear need of this football team.
Someone said in the chat, DJ won't be here next year, whatever happens. So how do you know that?
If he isn't, he isn't.
Right. But how do you know? How do you know? How are you guaranteeing that he's not going to be here? What makes you think that? Who are they replacing him with?
I will tell you the arguments that I hear from people. The biggest argument that I hear why Daniel Jones won't be here next year is Joe Shane did not pick up the 5th-year option before the year started.
They didn't know what the hell they had him. Why would you pigeonhole yourself like that?
This is my argument against that. One, there's no benefit. There's literally zero benefit for Joe Shane to pick up the 5th-year option before the year starts. You haven't seen him in your offense. He's coming off an injury. And even if he plays well, you could sign him to a contract that we're talking about that you could maneuver in a way that it wouldn't be more than $22 or $23 million against the cap year one anyway. And it could be a contract that you could get out of. If you sign him to the 5th-year extension, it's $22 million, whatever it was that you can't move around. So it made no sense whatsoever to sign him to the 5th-year extension, whether you liked him or whether you didn't before the year started, being that you were a new GM coming in. But that's an argument that I frequently hear, but I disagree with. I don't think that that's that's any indication one way or the other.
Daniel Jones is not his guy. Why he didn't? Again, he didn't know how he was going to perform in the system. So why would you pigeonhole yourself? Why would you handcuff yourself and say, well, we're going to hang on to this guy. We didn't draft him. We're going to hang on to him. They said it was an evaluation process for everybody this year. Well, they wanted to evaluate him. Man, like Chris said, you can structure a contract. You move things around. You can't do that when you pick up a fifth-year option. You're stuck with that. You're stuck with him. This gave him an option. If he was terrible this year, okay,
or
he got hurt,
yeah,
and the Giants are bad, then I can say, okay, we're going to take a quarterback.
Or if we win 4 games,
right,
and you're in a position to draft a quarterback.
We were horrible, and okay, we're going to go quarterback.
You leave all your options open. So
because if you give him a fifth-year option and you win 4 games, what are you going to do? You still could draft a quarterback, but you're stuck on the hook for $23 million.
Yeah, made no
sense.
Daniel
Jones be a backup?
Made no sense. It made no sense to give him that option before the year started. You evaluate him. You see how he does in the scheme. You see if he stays healthy. You see how the team does. You see where you're picking in the draft. You evaluate the talent pool, and you push forward. So it made no sense. It's not now. If Gettleman was the GM, that was his guy. He was going to extend him. Yep. It was a changing of the GM. That you expect that, especially at the quarterback position when you have to commit that much money. Ayub says we need to reset the quarterback clock. Simple. I understand the argument, Ayub, but you don't just do it to do it, and you don't. And the reason people make that argument, Ayub, is because they say you have to give the guy a second contract. What we're proposing is not giving Daniel Jones a second contract. Not really. What we're proposing is giving Daniel Jones another year and evaluating him and seeing if he could continue to grow, or if you need to draft a quarterback in the following draft as you continue to build up the rest of the football team.
Right.
We're not suggesting giving Daniel Jones a 4 or 5 year commitment.
Nope.
We're basically suggesting giving Daniel Jones a franchise tag, but maneuvering the money in such a way that it's not as much of a financial commitment if you were to franchise tag him. Exactly. That's what we're suggesting.
And that's what I think the Giants will do.
Yeah. And the imp says, thank you very much. He says, I have signed you both up for the Dollar Shave Club.
We can use it.
We appreciate that, imp, man. Thank you very much, buddy. And Ayub says, if we tank this year, we would be set up better.
But we didn't tank.
We didn't tank. So we got to live in the reality.
But we didn't tank.
We're not going to live in the Madden world.
They didn't come in there to tank. They came in here to say, we're rebuilding. Make no mistake about it.
Yeah.
But we're trying to win.
Yeah.
We're trying to win games. We're not going to sit there and tank. They weren't coming in and going, we're coming in because if you're a brand new regime, new coaching staff, new GM, new front office, new assistant GM, all that stuff, and the first thing you come in is tell the players, I want you guys to lose. I don't have any faith in you. I think you suck. That's pretty much what you're saying. I think you suck. I have no faith in you to win football games. I don't want any of you on this team. So I want you to play as bad as you possibly can play so we get a better draft pick. And you got to remember, in the last 5 years, we have picked 5th, 7th, 2nd, 4th, and 6th. How many damn top 7 picks do we need to rebuild a franchise? 2nd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. We have picked since 2017 or 2018. That's where we've picked 5 top 7 picks. And we have been bad for 5 years. So picking early in the draft does not guarantee any kind of success. You are good GMs, find talent at the end of the first round and in the middle rounds. That's why Buffalo is really good. That's where they found their talent. That's why Baltimore is really good. That's why Pittsburgh has been really good for so many years. That's why New England has been really good for so many years. They find talent in the middle of the draft. That's how you do it. You don't need to. The teams that are constantly picking at the top of the draft are constantly bad for a reason.
Ayub, and I've seen people frequently make this comparison, and I think for this year, it's a good comparison. But basketball is completely different than football, and I'll explain why in a second. It says Knicks 2020 season
players as opposed to 53.
Exactly. Knicks 2020 season equals the Giants 2022 season. It's fraudulent. We all know that the New York Giants are on a Super Bowl roster right now, but football is a completely different sport than basketball. In basketball, if you don't have one of the top 8, 9 players on the planet, you have no chance.
Right.
You have no chance. Football is a team sport, and don't tell me you need a top 5 quarterback to compete. Jimmy Garoppolo right now, in my opinion, is the best team in the NFC. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's been to an NFC title game. Ryan Tannehill frequently goes to the playoffs. Ryan Tannehill had the number 1 seed in the AFC last year. It's a team game, and you continue to build the team.
Yeah, what does a quarterback have to do with the defense?
Nothing. Nothing.
I've seen a couple quarterbacks in my lifetime that were better than Dan Marino. It's not Dan Marino's fault that the defense sucked. It's the way. Dude, the quarterback has nothing to do with the other side of the ball or special teams. There's two other parts of the game besides offense. And the quarterback has nothing to do with either one of them. I watched Eli Manning throw over 350 yards, 6 touchdowns, no turnovers, and lose a game that he put up 49 points. Is that Eli Manning's fault that they lost?
It's apples and oranges. When people compare basketball to football, it's a completely different structure. So and the other argument that I hear people bring up about Daniel Jones, because I have these debates on Twitter all the time with people. They say, well, if you're not going to draft a quarterback, what's the point of bringing back Daniel Jones for $24 million or whatever it's going to cost when you can start Tyrod Taylor for $6 million, or when you could bring in Mitch Trubisky for $13 million and you could save $11 million? Well, it's pretty obvious to me why. One, these quarterbacks that you're suggesting don't have the ceiling of Daniel Jones, at least in my opinion. And I think the Giants would probably share that opinion. But two, and even more importantly, Daniel Jones is accustomed to the system. And for people that say, well, you can't win a Super Bowl anyway, it's not just about winning Super Bowls. It's not just about the quarterback position. It's about the further development of players on your roster. Bringing in Marcus Mariota, who's never played in this offensive scheme, who's never thrown balls to Wan'Dale Robinson, who's not going to have the knowledge of Daniel Jones, who's just going to step in year 2 after playing a full year in this offense, is not going to be as effective as Daniel Jones.
You also don't have the leadership or the respect. Marcus Mariota be coming in there to a whole new locker room. So you'd have to have the players, have chemistry with him. The players, he'd have to earn the players' respect. How the players going to respond to him? The players like Daniel Jones. He earned respect in the locker room. So there's a lot of intangibles that go into football that people overlook because, again, they're just stuck on Madden and statistics. This is not Madden. This is the NFL. It looks good in a video game. You can do whatever the hell you want in a video game. It's a video game. It ain't real. This is real. These guys make real decisions with real money and real cap space. Okay? So you got to get it out of your head, man. You have to think about things. You have to think about the future. We're in a bad situation because our former GM did not think about the future. All he kept thinking about is, I got to win today. I got to win today. I'm not worried about tomorrow. I got to win today. Screwed us.
Yeah.
And now we're in a horrible situation, and yet somehow we find a way to be 7-4. And if you don't think that Daniel Jones has something to do with us being 7-4, I don't know what to tell you, because he does.
Yeah, he definitely does. And Brent says the 5th-year option is a pointless argument with how he did in the offense. Higher chance he won't be back because his value is higher than Shane's value. We'll find out at the end of the year. But we'll see. I think he's going to be back. Yep. Andrew, man, thank you very much, man. Unless, again, I want to throw in the caveat, unless Shane loves a quarterback. If he loves a quarterback, he'll get him. Yeah. But if not, where we're picking, I think Jones is going to be back. Andrew, man, thank you very much, man. Honestly, I just want to see Jones' second year in the offensive system. Right now, he's throwing to a goal. I think we all do. And I wish we didn't get into this conversation because it always seems to get to this point. I'd rather do what we did the first hour and 20 minutes of this stream, Baddog, and talk about the biggest game that the New York Giants have since 2016. But it goes off the rails with the Daniel Jones talk. Dylan says this stream is about kicking. He just said it. This stream is about kicking Washington's ass. Did we forget DJ literally owns them? 8-4. Here we come, baby. 100.4 quarterback rating versus Washington. Yeah, that's where mine
should be 9-3 against them.
Yeah,
because of an offsides penalty, we're 9-3 against them.
Yeah, so I'm with you, Dylan, and I'm excited for the game. Can't wait to call the game with Baddog, and I'm praying that Daniel Jones wins it. I'm praying that Dan Jones goes out there and wins the game, and Saquon Barkley put balls out, and we continue to push forward with this team and make the playoffs this year. That's what the season is about for me right now. Make the freaking playoffs.
Yep, that's all that matters.
I can't wait. I can't wait for the game this week. Let's see. Bad Doggy means 8-4. People got, but anyway, it's later than I thought it was. It's 12:30 already. I got work tomorrow, but
me too.
We get into it. We get passionate. We have fun. That's what these streams are about. Giants are going to win, Bad Dog. We're going to get this win. We're going to get this win this week.
Freaking W.
We're going to get this win this week.
Put that thing in the left column.
We're going to get this W this week. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. We'll be calling the game here, so definitely swing by. Appreciate everybody that was in the stream tonight. I had so much fun. And I'm still going with the DJ talk. Says DJ is too good. He'll demand $120 million. He's too expensive. He's not getting $120 million. Just silly.
$120 million. He's not coming back here.
Yeah, but he's not.
Good for him.
He's not going to get $120 million. But guys, thank you guys for all the support. Thank you guys for everything that you do for both of our channels. And JD says, Tane, check your Twitter DM. Mac Jones happy with JoJo. I'll check it after, JD. I always talk to JD on Twitter, man. Thank you so much for being here. He's the man. Got to get you on the channel again soon, JD. Andrew, man, thank you very much, man. My bad. Just hate the DJ hate. No, man. You weren't the one spewing the hate. Honestly, am excited to see the healthy D-line on the field all at once. Oh, dude, to me, what I'm most excited about in this game is that and getting Bellinger and Evan Neal back. And I think seeing a more healthy Saquon Barkley. I think you're going to see a different Barkley this week. So I'm really excited about it, man. I think we're going to get a win. I really do. And we'll see. But thank you to everybody for being here. Thank you guys for all the support.
Always.
Bad Dog, do what you always do.
All right, Giants fans. We can sit here and disagree about Daniel Jones. We can sit here and disagree about the quarterback you want, wide receiver, whatever position the hell you want. One thing we all agree on. We want the damn Giants to win. Well, at least I hope the Giants fans want the Giants to win. I want the Giants to win. Chris wants the Giants to win. We want you to come by on Sunday and hang out with us and watch us beat the Commanders' ass. Move to 8-4 and start our playoff push. This biggest game we've had in 6 years. Let's go Giants, baby. Appreciate you being here. Enjoy the rest of your Friday, I guess, right? And we'll see you on Sunday for the entertainment.
It's Friday already. Holy crap, man.
It is the Bad Diggy Dizzle. We gone. Peace.
Let's go.